Hello. Haven't been on in a little while. Guess I should provide the URL here. Hello, Gad. How's it going? That's cool. I'm still a little out of it. I just got back freaking rushing like crazy to get everything done. I'd do that on stream, dude. Two birds with one stone. So I figured there might be at least a few people who might want to come on and gloat about Donald Trump winning. But maybe not. MAGA people are, but to be fair, there are an insane amount of MAGA people. It's kind of the same on both sides. It's sort of like what they consider to be the lesser of two evils type deal. There's not really that many people that were too excited about either choice, really. All right, dude, take your time. Big Ear, calm down. You can't see the other cat. I tend to do more unstructured than not, but every once in a while I want to really get in deep on a specific topic. I think both have their purposes. But I generally prefer it to be kind of laid back and just whatever comes up, comes up. I'll be right back. What kind of audience do you attract? They're not capable of conversations. Like you get the drama mongering type that just are there for a dumpster fire or something. Hello, Myth. Put some shoes on. My cat wanted out, and also he wants to meet the new cat, which I can't allow. Hello, Gadwin.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
They chat. Of course. I guess that does make sense. What's up, Gadwin?
I'm in a state of bewilderment. Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
I'm not very surprised, but I'm still disappointed.
I mean, if you look, there's 186 million registered voters.
Mm-hmm.
If you add up the total between Trump and Kamala, that's 139 million, and so that leaves 47 million that didn't vote apparently.
Yeah,
and
that is
and they didn't
strange.
even count all the votes. Like if you type in election numbers, a map will come up. You can go over like Nevada. They never finished counting. It stopped at like 69% and stuff like that.
Wouldn't they do that if he already got the 170 or whatever, however many is needed, total
But
delegates?
wasn't it last 2020? Trump was out. It's not over until every vote's counted. And they made us count every single vote and then recount every single vote in many states.
That's true.
So why does it apply for him, but then not us? Why isn't every vote counted?
I don't know. I haven't heard much about that.
I went over to the Sheldon White House, the senator's page, and I was like left him some comments like that. It's like maybe he'll get intrigued by it. Maybe he can push something through or something. A couple other places with influence.
Maybe, but I really don't see it getting reverted unless we find some sort of fraud or something.
Now we do have a chance yet in December. 14th to the 20th is when the Electoral College actually casts their vote. So nothing is set in stone yet. Nothing's done until Electoral College finishes.
Right, that's true.
So Trump also has a sentencing hearing coming up for his felony charges in November?
True, but he has the Supreme Court on lock, and essentially they say he can do whatever he wants. Like, actually, not even essentially. They literally say as long as it is considered presidential duties, basically, which he could file anything under that. He can do whatever he wants. It's fucked, but
Well, then Biden has the same privileges, and Biden should just,
I know, and
do whatever he wants and just lock him
I
up.
was disappointed that Biden said I'm not going to use it because I'm better than that. And I'm like, well, he sure fucking will. So sometimes you got to fight fire with fire.
Well, see, this is what people hate about Democrats is they're spineless in most cases.
Yeah.
They're afraid of they're afraid of doing something that's going to piss people off because they don't want their approval rating or something. Sometimes you got to just put your fists down and get shit done.
Yeah, that is true. But honestly, I'm pretty sure this is just it is what it is. Um,
It's a
uh,
dismantling of democracy, is what it is.
it really is, and we've already started seeing. He's already sown the foundations. He's going, as I already covered, and there's a couple of things I didn't even cover in that last one. Like, for one, the 10% to 20% tariffs is essentially just a tax on American citizens because
Hmm.
obviously all economists say it. What they're going to do is China, and well, China's the big one, but anyone else is going to pass the cost on to consumers because obviously that's
Well,
what
it's a
they.
60% on every good out of China into
Mm.
America, and then 20%, 10 to 20 on everybody else. And
Oh,
like,
really? It's that high just on China?
yeah, China gets a 60%. So all of our electronics, if you get clothing, like, it's funny is because Trump merchandise, it's all made in fucking China. So now all his merchandise is gonna have a 60% tariff on it. It's like
Wow.
he's so stupid. That's the problem. It's idiocracy, and we're being ruled by the dumbest motherfucker I've ever known.
I think that's kind of part of the point. I think that he has riled up a lot of people who are kind of apolitical and stupid because he talks on a third grade level. So like all the stupid people flock to him and they kind of resonate with him and they're like, that's my guy. That's
Well,
what
it
they
reminds
mean
me
when
of
they
that.
say he tells it like it is. He doesn't, but he just says shit and he talks very simply and he's not like extremely.
Oh, he's not eloquent at all.
Yeah. So people can understand him. So I
Yeah,
think
I seen somebody
he's.
say that where he's the first president that the stupid can actually understand, and so therefore they just cling on to every word, and that's all they know is his buzzwords, like build a
Yeah,
wall and all this
yeah,
stupid shit.
exactly. Exactly. That's why all of his things are like 3-word slogan type. I think you brought that up before. And it's
Hmm.
always simple. It's always something people can understand that don't
Chant.
understand politics really.
Yep. But there's a lot of people I know that, like my uncle. We rode in the work truck every day. It was Rush Limbaugh to the job site on the way home, or that whatever right wing radio station on AM,
Mhm.
but it played Rush Limbaugh. Lunchtime was always Rush Limbaugh, and he knows politics very well. He's a valedictorian. He's smart. He's a very smart guy,
Mhm.
and he falls for this shit. Like he would sit and watch Bill O'Reilly every night, and then it became Tucker Carlson. I mean, he just ate hook, line, and sinker all this stuff, and he's smart. Which that's what bewildered me even more. It's like I see through the charade that they're
Right.
casting over America, and he's just blind to it all. And it's like
To be fair, I think that he is a different, what would you call it, group than what I'm talking about.
demographic.
Yeah, yes. So he's the smart Republican. He's usually it's due to like personal gain or
Yeah,
or
exactly about
his
taxes.
values. Yeah, his values and also
Oh,
they'll think that
like
it's.
super Christian values.
Yes, that too. But I'm specifically talking about the people who just never gave a shit because they didn't care or didn't understand. And then they see someone who can talk to them. And I think that turned on a ton of people. Not to
Well,
mention, as I already said, I think one of the biggest ones is that the economy, even though it's not Biden's fault, that's how it works. The bad shit happened under Biden, so they're going to blame Biden and they're going to do, hey, it's got to be better than this, and they're going to choose
they're
the
not
other
going to do
side.
any research. It's
Right.
this guy said this on the TV, which I all media is fake except for where I get my media from them.
Yeah.
It's the media is the biggest player in this. 8 years now straight of just Trump every fucking day.
Yeah. That's also a big part.
He's
And
seared into the minds of the idiots.
it's also backfired because, in general, MAGA people don't care about facts. They really don't. So
I've seen it with
when
Andy a lot.
when you cover things like the negative things that he's done, it backfires, and they go like, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how bad. It's funny because Trump himself made fun of his own followers by saying it. He said, I could go down Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody in the head, and they'll still vote for me. He was basically calling them all morons, and he's right. And they still it still works. It's sad.
What and the thing that really pisses me off with like my family being really religious. So they're supposed to people are supposed to have a quality, a character about them, a certain quality, the things that they actually do in their life, like go to church every Sunday, something Obama did, something
Yeah.
Bush did, every president up until Trump
Right.
went to church every Sunday and did all these Christian things. And Trump's just like, here, I'm going to go beat up some people and then hold a Bible upside down and act like I'm a Christian. And it's like, they fall for that.
Yep. And that's why a lot of people think I'm just being mean because I quote lost. It's not about me. I'm not being mean. Like, it's just
Well, to
it's
them, it is about
crazy.
them. To them,
Yeah,
they are all
yes,
self
I know.
indulging.
I know. But that's the thing. They're gonna lose. A huge portion of the electorate, or not the electorate, but the people who were voting are extremely poor, dumb white people that are about to get fucked hard.
Well, and a lot of elderly people who they're already retired. So they think they're
Hmm.
living their best life. They got their house paid off. They have a decent car. So they're just kind of floating along. And then
Yeah.
here's going to come Trump because Republicans don't understand when they say cut payroll tax. All the small business, are like, yeah, he's going to cut business payroll taxes. Well, that means we're cutting Social Security and Medicare to all elderly people.
Yep.
And you, if you're going to eventually retire, you ain't getting shit anymore.
Yep. Well,
And
they've
you ain't.
been trying to gut Social Security for years. The right
Oh, I
has,
know.
and they haven't succeeded yet. And I'm worried they're going to get it happen.
Oh,
He's got a
if you look
lot of
at how
power.
well, if you look how the Project 2025 is, the first thing it is for day one, going in and just gutting everything. I just seen that he's basically going to give Elon Musk unmitigated power to just clean out government, basically
Yep.
cut anything and everything. I mean, you're
It's
talking about
really bad.
EPA gone. You're gonna have toxic dump just dumped into all your rivers, streams.
Yep.
I mean,
But
full
all people,
runoff.
all the selfish pieces of crap care about is, oh, gas is going to be cheaper, which is probably going to be true at least temporarily. But like, at what cost?
Well,
We're fucking everything.
I don't know if you noticed, but I'm still going out in t-shirts every day, and it's almost the middle of November.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's kind of shutting. It's a closed door case, but again, they don't care about facts. It doesn't matter.
to
It's
them,
irrelevant to them.
it's about owning the libs. It's
Yeah, well, part of it, yes.
there's the kind of people that will cut their face or their nose off to spite their face.
Yep. And a lot of them, part of it was the economy deal, which I think was a ton, but a lot of the hardcore MAGA types were also, it's about racism. It's about, we need to get these
Yeah, I saw
immigrants
that.
out of our country.
Which I seen the Mexican people voted for this, and it's like they're voted to deport themselves because in
Yep.
Trump's Project 2025, he wants to go back and undo all the birth or the anybody who was born here from immigrants
Hmm.
and anybody from the Dreamer Act that Reagan did, and basically deport them to a country they've never been to. Just be like, all right, since your parents are immigrants, you go to this camp, and then eventually we're gonna put you on a plane or whatever, and you're getting dropped in like Guatemala or somewhere. Good
Yep.
luck. And
Yep.
they just voted for it. It's like, are you this fucking ignorant? I was like, I told the ex, I was like, I don't have anything to worry about. I'm a white male and I'm straight. Like, I don't have nothing to lose in this. But a lot of people, elderly, people of color. Did you
Hmm.
see about the text messages?
No.
Trump supporters, I put a thing over in your news thing. Trump supporters are messaging black people and telling them to report for slave duty, putting an address for a plantation, telling them to bring all their possessions. They'll be searched on arrival. Sincerely, Trump administration.
Sounds about right. I'm honestly not surprised. That's fucked. But I really, people think I'm kind of over exaggerating, but I think it's going to be really, really bad. He's
What the
going
thing is,
to. Go ahead.
He's gonna dismantle a bunch of things that need each other to support other things, and it's gonna all start coming down like a house of cards. And they're gonna think they're gonna have this big vision happen, but everything's gonna collapse in, and you're just gonna see fucking anarchy break out.
Probably. I just don't see anything really good happening though,
Because we know they're not
unless
smart,
that's true. That's
and
very
they
true.
can't. They couldn't organize the first time. Look at the first Trump administration. Like how many people are just like, "Wow, this guy's fucking stupid," and just walked out of his cabinet.
Hmm.
I
Well,
mean,
that's why now he's not. The first time we had guardrails because some of the people in his high-ranking cabinet kind of kept him in check, and
yeah, the generals and
he's
such.
going
Yeah.
out of his way to make sure that doesn't happen this time.
Well, that's the
And
first gutting in the project. Yeah.
yep, and he's going to be surrounded by yes guys that'll tell him yes to anything he says, or else he's trying to basically, in my opinion, pull Putin, an early Putin, how Putin
Well,
rose to power.
it's funny. The ex is she's been watching history about the rise of Nazis throughout Germany and everything, and she's like, "Well, here's where you got the part for this speech. Hey, look, this is how they want why they wanted to pull January 6th. The Nazis did all this shit already.
I know. Well,
They
that's
took
why
over the parliament like
people
January
were
6th.
like saying that, like, dude, you're exaggerating when you're saying he sounds like he literally used they're poisoning the blood of our nation. That is stolen from fucking Hitler.
They are
Like,
vermin.
eh, like you can't make this shit up.
It's he said, but they will ignore it. That's why I'm saying it. This to me seems like almost like a religious thing. Like in their hearts, they know he is a horrible human being,
Hmm.
and they want to see the Jesus come back. My family, they want this whole Jesus coming back. They want the rapture. To them, that's the best fucking thing that could happen.
Right.
And to them, so they think Trump's like the Antichrist, basically. They're actually promoting the Antichrist because the Antichrist brings Jesus back.
I really think, and it's going to get worse before it gets better because he's about to gut the Department of Education, and we're already. And this is just a theory, but I believe that the reason why he rose to power, in large part, is because our education system sucks. And I know that sounds like that's too simple,
Oh, I
and
know
it's only part, but like considering we're the wealthiest nation in the history of the fucking world, and our education is like what 20 something and it's getting worse and they're about to dismantle it, that makes him more viable. And it
we're
also makes it
47th in the world for education.
really, it's that damn bad. I thought it was 20 something. Holy
China's
shit.
like first or second.
Wow. So the point is, it makes it more difficult. People don't have like skills for critical thinking.
Well,
It's
there's a reason
easier
for
for
that.
Trump to lie to everyone and no one will be any the wiser. Like it's already to the point where facts don't matter. Like misinformation wins. Like I don't know how
We're
it's going to get better.
after FDR. So we had a socialist that ran this country. He was elected 4 times because he was so good at it. He broke up the robber barons that were exploiting the people because they were already at the
Mhm.
point where they were tired of it. I mean, the coal companies busting up all the unions, Standard Oil. I mean, there's these robber barons that just decimated America. They ran everything. They owned the politics, the politicians, everybody. FDR came in, got elected, and he banned monopolies. He broke all of them up and got rid of all that. We got unions where workers had rights. We got the weekends, overtime pay.
40-hour work week.
Yep. Standardization. We got the highway system. We got Social Security, Medicare. We got the
Yep.
Hoover Dam, which powers like how many cities and gives them water. I mean, socialism built this country
Hmm.
mainly, and that's what gave us our middle class. And then the rich saw that as an enemy.
Yep. Well, it is a threat to their power to some extent.
And so they bought off the politician, and they've been doing it for a while. Because the '90s when they got rid of the fairness doctrine,
Well, in
and
large part, Bernie is saying that that's why Kamala lost. And Bernie kind of got screwed because he's always been he's always stuck to his beliefs. He's never backed down from his shit. But
yep,
he thought that if he played ball with the corporate Democrats, that he might be able to get some of the things he wanted. And they played him. They were never going to give him shit. They were never going to give us $15 an hour or anything like that. So he got pissed and is like, "You guys used me," and now he's coming out and telling people, This is why you lost. You didn't look out for your working class. You didn't do anything for them, very little.
They fear Bernie. That's what they fear
Of
Bernie
course.
because he just got elected again. I don't know if you saw Vermont. He got elected like 60% of the vote. Like it was
Yeah.
he's the best senator they ever had, and I mean he did everything. Mayor,
Hmm.
senator, congressman. Like he knows his shit. I mean, and the thing they fear about Bernie is people understand his messaging and then they embrace it.
Hmm.
It's like V for Vendetta.
It kind
An
of is, and
idea is
he is
bulletproof.
sort of the anarchist in the deal because uh, let's be honest, Democrats are center right, and they
Hmm.
don't want anything even resembling what Bernie Sanders wants. They might claim shit just to keep the base at bay, but they never do anything because they actually don't want it.
We're a
And
pyramid built on greed.
pretty much, yeah. And so they just tell people what they want to hear. And I think people are starting to realize that, but Trump's not the answer, and we're about to find out.
Well,
It's about to get
people are
and
lazy too.
so, some people I've heard the theory floated out that Trump and Elon are working on this. This is sort of conspiracy status, but that wealthy people are going to purposefully try to create a recession because there's a lot of benefit to that for billionaires.
Oh yeah, they buy everything up cheap. So
Hmm.
there's a Kalinsky guy. He's a big business guy. He buys up land and stuff like that. He's like, when 2008 crash came for me, he's like, that was perfect for me. I bought up like land everywhere.
Hmm.
And for people like that to have disposable income, you see all these billionaires, the richest men, all just made like huge profits when Trump supposedly got elected.
Yep.
Yeah, they're isolating their portfolios. They're
Yep.
reinvesting. They're investing in themselves, so they're pumping a bunch of money in there. It bumps their numbers up. People dump more money in there because once these tariffs kick in, the 60 and then the 20 on everything else, they're gonna have to like those brands or whatever, whoever's selling their shit, they're gonna put that onto the price. So those prices of those things are gonna go up. Well, Trump's idea thinks that American prices are gonna just stay low where they're at. No, they're gonna raise their prices up to match what those imports
Obviously.
are, and they're
Yeah.
gonna milk that for as much as possible. So we're gonna
Hmm.
see inflation like 15% or more. I mean, it's gonna be just soup kitchen lines and stuff like that
Oh,
again. I
it's
mean,
going to be really bad. And let's not even get into if he's able to pull off, and I think he can, if he's able to pull off the mass deportation he's wanting, fruit and food
oh,
and even
that's
meat
hundreds of
packing and
billions.
everything is going to rise by like 100, 150%. It's going to
Well,
get
just think
really fucking bad.
Well, just think of all your fruits and vegetables, everything like in the wintertime, we don't grow strawberries in the United States in wintertime. They come
Right.
from countries where it's warm.
Yep.
And
That
that's
was
with
the,
a lot of our stuff. All your foods
it
pretty much.
is. Yeah. And there's a ton of products that like, he wants to do this protectionism type deal. Hello, Andy. He
Hey,
wants
Trop, how
to
you been doing? I'm glad to see you. I was getting
not
worried.
Not too bad. It's just internet issues, and I've been a little bit busy. And well, not to mention
Hey,
addicted to a video game too.
yeah, I saw that. Look, I don't want to interrupt y'all, but I would like a minute just to greet you and say, hey, is everything going okay with the storm? You doing all right?
Oh yeah, everything's fine. We've surprisingly picked back up very quickly. We've got power, water's coming back. Everything is good. Just it sucked for me personally. I wasn't that affected. It was just
No
internet
more
being
pooping in a
spotty for
bucket.
a while. What?
Yeah,
No more pooping in a bucket.
Well, I
yeah.
just
I
pooped
don't
and
know how it
frickin'
goes.
we
I
used to use
experienced it
gallons
down
of
here.
water and poured it down the back of the toilet to flush. It works.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I just want to state, it amazes me the resilience of people, and when a storm occurs and things go bad, it's like me. I'm guilty of it or part of it. Man, people really start helping their neighbors. They're not worried about color, political alliance. The good really comes out in people, at least down here. And I hope you got to
Well,
experience some of that.
I
That's the
did,
truth
but
with
I will.
every natural disaster.
That's very true,
You're
but I will
damn well
say
right.
it's both. because we have both extremes. We've got the people that go out of their way, and that's most people, to be fair. But then we get people that take advantage and are trying to steal and loot, and that
Oh
happens
yeah,
too.
of course. Well, you know
Well,
what you do,
like the
people
charities and
do
stuff.
around here.
Mhm.
People walk around with guns, and you have guns.
Oh, that was the first. Honestly, I went down the road after the second day because I wanted to see the gas station because I've heard it was
Right,
bad and there were people fighting and parking for like a mile out just to get gas.
right,
So the
right,
first thing I did is I took my gun with
Oh,
me because I heard some
right.
horror stories.
right. Well, you know, my thing's more like, hey, if you need to put a tarp over your roof, or hey, I have more water than I can use. A big one down here has been gasoline because of generators. It's a valuable commodity, and
Hmm.
you only give gas to the people that matter to you. You know, because it's such a valuable commodity. You know, post
Finite
hurricane.
resource.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
it is important, especially with generators. I didn't have one, but honestly, I was fine. I actually
What
went
happened?
off of my medication, and it wasn't really good, but I did it on purpose because
Yeah.
the the hurricane kind of let me because I couldn't get out, and I was like, I'm really reliant on my medicine, and I can't go
Right.
get it. So I don't
Right.
like that. I don't like that I'm like a slave to it. So I
Yeah.
decided I was going to try to cold turkey it, and it did not go well.
I was gonna say wean yourself
Okay.
off it slowly.
That's what I was told by my
Wait a minute.
therapist. Next
Well,
time I try to do that.
I have a comment on that. I have a couple friends, okay? You know, we get hurricanes a little bit more regular here. And
Hmm.
what they do is, you know, most of these medicines, you know, my friends take are systemic. You know, they take a few days to wear off or a few days to kick in. So
Right.
what they do is they'll purposely miss until they build up a surplus, and then they call it their hurricane med. You know, I mean, I've known numerous people that do that. You know,
That's
Well, they
build
go
up
actually
a
bad,
that's not a bad idea, and I
but
might
they
yeah.
do
do have a
that.
shelf life on them. Like medications have a shelf life.
That's
Yeah, but if
true.
somebody's on medication, what you do, you rotate them. Just like, you know, I keep food in the house, same purpose, you know, in
Okay,
case
so
of a food.
you take the last one and put the new one in it,
You
basically
just
its
do a
place.
simple
Or
rotation, you know, and
yeah,
that kind of. But
yeah. I've been trying
anyway,
to teach the
uh,
kids rotation.
yeah.
They don't understand it. Like
Anyway,
when you stock the cabinets, put the new stuff in the back and put the old stuff in the front, like
well,
macaroni,
look,
anything.
I'd have to ask Krabs. Krabs, have you done that? Was that part of your training, like when you were stocking to move the old stock, or?
Oh yeah, not like my big thing was getting my stalkers to do it because nobody wanted to do it because it's so easy to just push shit back and throw it in
Oh
there.
yeah, personally
My
happened.
grandparents had me doing that from a kid, doing inventory and stuff like that. That's what you
Yeah,
start out at doing, putting inventory together. Well, fittings they called it, the fitting room.
right. Uh, to
But
I
you
saw
know,
the
my
benefit in speed, so I kind of had an in between. Like I had very structured rules. Like canned
right,
goods, you rotate by the year because it's a little extensive to fucking rotate
right, right,
exactly
right.
every single time. But
Yeah.
like certain products, every damn time. And if you didn't, I was going to write you up because that's money
Right.
down the drain, and that was my job. That was what I was there for.
Well, as a consumer, I've learned to check dates because
Yep.
I used to, I used to stockpile a lot more than I do now. I wasn't, what do they call those people that collect food all the time?
Oh,
I don't know,
prepper.
prepper. Yeah, I wasn't a prepper, but I did have a
You just want
nice,
to be prepared.
right,
Being in
right. I
Louisiana,
was
I
like,
could definitely see that as a feasible thing that anybody should do.
Hmm.
right. So I was like stocking up on cereal for the hell of it. I had some coupons or whatever. And I happened to check the dates. It fucking blew me away. In the front was like 1 month left, and the ones in the back had a year plus or whatever. It was pretty extreme, you know. I don't want to exaggerate too much, but it was pretty freaking extreme.
Were
That's
you
the case with
extreme
most
enough to
grocery
notice it?
stores. Well, I
What was
think a lot of times they know they just can't do much about it because they honestly grocery stores don't hold a lot of power. They're middlemen, so they don't make a whole ton of profit unless they're price gouging and price fixing, which they are. But like they don't pay very much, and their people if they push people too much, they're like, "Well, fuck you, I'm done," and they can't replace them very easily.
Well, people
Right,
don't really
right.
understand necessarily is a grocery store is a vendor. They don't
Mm-hmm.
own any of the products. They just vendor for companies. And
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they're middlemen. Well, they
yep.
sell their own products, you know.
Well, we do
That's
have a
true.
Wise here that do make their own products. They kind of well, that's basically a monopoly though. If you owned in different points, that all link.
But yeah. So anyway, I mean, I know y'all were talking and stuff, and I interrupted, but I'm glad you're doing well. I kind of miss you Friday night streams, you know.
It's all good. I should be coming back weekly
Looks
now.
like, you know, I very rarely I go up on panel either just for friendly chit chat or to talk shit with people that don't like me. And I've been going on Acid's panel. I don't know if y'all know Acid.
I saw him recently on someone's stream. I think it was damn, what's her name? Angela.
JC. Oh, Angela. Oh
Angela, I
yeah,
think it,
yeah. I'm sure he was. Yeah, I remember that. Him and I got into it.
yeah, I think that's what it was. He was just being a dick and just constantly like it's like his entire purpose was just to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
well,
troll
that night
mentality.
was a bad night for me because I flipped out on him and I flipped out on Patrick. Your sole purpose is to antagonize people. People actually come onto these streams to talk about something, to hang out, not to be your victim, not to be your plaything. And
Yeah.
I know this thing like court Trobs. I mean, I can't court him any other way. He won't let me.
and they're picking on these two chicks. And they're kind of feeling awkward, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you call me. I'm fucking in your presence. I'm not gonna listen to your bullshit. Leave these chicks alone. Quit trying to be a victimizer.
I used to have to tell you that, Andy.
Well, look. We all have issues, and I tell you the same thing I tell other people. We're not friends, any of us, but that doesn't mean we can't talk and try to learn. And
If
I
I didn't
remember
like
telling
Andy, I would have blocked you a long time ago. I mean, I did block you
well,
for a time.
there it is. Because see, the whole thing is that's like I said. I don't go up. I'm not faulting you with y'all are chit chatting, about like-minded things, but I don't go up there, on panels to say, oh, yeah, I agree with you about every fucking thing. You're so right. Let me suck you off. I agree with you so much.
Well, we're very like-minded. That's the thing. We're both.
Well, to be fair, and I'm not just doing what you're saying. I don't think Gadwin just says he agrees with everything. In fact, I think he disagrees with me on a number of things. But like he said, he's very he thinks similarly to me. I don't think it's like
I'm not necessarily insulting y'all, but I think you understand my sentiment, Well,
I do respect that you don't come on here and just fucking because I've got people like that before where they're like, oh, this is your stream. I'm just gonna tell you what you want to hear. And I hate that. I really do hate it. So I respect that you speak up whenever you disagree.
Look, so man, I had a couple comments. Look, let me be quiet. Y'all continue on because I had a couple comments and I forgot because of all my bullshit. But
it's all good.
Look, listen to this, Tribes. I'm gonna throw this at you, okay? We'll get back to the politics. I think it was on the video you did recently, and you mentioned Project, what is it, 2025?
Yes.
Which I really don't know that much. From what I understand, it's pretty like, to use the term, right? It's pretty right wing, like
it's
over the top some of the stuff.
It's very over the top. But to be fair, I've heard lately that even left wing outlets, and I hope they're right, are saying that it looks like he's not going to go that route. Other than a couple of things.
He just put a new thing out. It's called Agenda 47.
Yes, that's the real thing that he's going to put.
There's a bunch of parts from Project 2025 basically copied and pasted into Agenda 47.
Well, my whole point towards that is what's the big deal? If it has some issues that the American people want that aren't overly extreme, big deal. Oh, it's in Project 25. I'm a venture a wild guess that there may be issues in Project 25 that the two of you agree to. that doesn't make y'all like a supporter of it. And I would say the same thing about myself. You know, I might agree with a lot more, but oh, yeah, well, he may enact some of it. He may act on some of it. Well, you know, that goes without saying. But you know, okay, you know, to condemn him, it's just, you know, I don't like. It's just I don't like that kind of stuff. You know, it reminds
What
me
makes
too
me
much
mad
of
about
liberal
Trump
youth.
is he doesn't try to learn anything. He thinks he
How,
already knows everything.
how do you know that? I mean, Gadwin, how
Because
can
how he
you say that?
talks, he always talks
He's
about himself. He's very self-centered. It's always about him. I'm the greatest at this. My uncle was a great scientist, so therefore I'm a great scientist. And I mean, he says the most absurdly stupid things,
he's
and
self-centered. He's abrasive.
he's a
Yeah.
narcissist.
Well, I don't know the full definition of that. I'm not going to say he's a nutcase. You know,
It's a
that's
personal
what I
lie,
was.
manipulate, do anything for themselves only. Like they'll put themselves
Yeah.
ahead of everybody.
Oh shit, that's what I got accused of in my divorce case. Fuck me. I don't manipulate. I've been accused of manipulating it, but I can't help it if I'm fucking right. Fuck.
Trump's a narcissist. I mean, textbook narcissist. I mean,
But
many of
anyway,
psychiatrists have diagnosed him.
and to hear you know, some of the terms I hear y'all mention, y'all realize how many millions and millions of people support this man, huh? You can't
Well,
call him
I
out.
No,
don't.
that's the
You can't
scary
call him
part
I
out.
because they're going to go
actually,
along with it.
I don't believe it entirely. So partially I'll agree, but I don't think tons of people support Donald Trump. I think most people felt like things are bad and anything's got to be better than this, that it's worth a shot. It's like a lesser
Right.
of two evils thing. I don't think it's like we love Trump. Only a certain like MAGA hardcore people are really Trump supporters.
Well, a lot of that stupid
Wow.
advertising is like, oh, they're putting showers and making kids of the same both genders shower together in elementary school. They're doing sex changes at schools. Like, just stuff is not even real, and
Okay.
these motherfuckers fall for
Okay.
it. Like, you don't Google it.
I don't believe that. But do you believe that there's teachers that are, you know, behind parents' backs, calling Jimmy Jane? Do you think there's anything underhanded, so to speak, going on, you know, as far as sex in grade school? You know, like, oh,
There's
be who
always
you
been
want to be.
teachers and student things going on. I mean, there was a movie not too long Adam Sandler made about him fucking a teacher, her getting pregnant, having a kid. She goes to prison, and he
I'm
raises
not
the kid.
talking about fucking. I'm just talking about, you know, this transsexual shit in grade school. You know,
It's not so much. It's about people just being able to like. It's not so much on the trans thing or the gay thing. It's just let people be just who the fuck they are without them having to stand. You know, be one stereotypical this. They don't want to
but
have people like they need to fit into a mold. I have to be
but,
this or I have to be
but
this.
let
It's
me ask you
be
this.
yourself.
Let me ask you this. When has a grade schooler never been allowed to be themselves?
A lot. Like if you didn't have the cool shit, this or that, you got picked on and bullied. If you didn't act a certain way, you got picked
Has
on and
that
bullied.
changed? Has that changed? I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I don't see that as a
it's
clear cut
zero
answer, but
tolerance
has that
now.
changed? Huh?
It's zero tolerance bullying now, which sometimes I think bullying actually does help in a way
Of
because
course it does. Of course it does. I got bullied I got bullied 3 times in my life, and look at me now.
like if you're doing a very disruptive behavior and just doing it to be annoying and you piss off people a lot and you keep getting the same, response from them, maybe you should stop it. That's where it's
Right.
like I think it's acceptable to, curb certain behaviors that are not
Uh-huh.
socially acceptable.
Well, what I
Well,
say is that is not bullying. Some people say you're just bullying the bully. That's not bullying. You're not a bully if you're putting a piece of shit in their place. That's a whole different thing because your
yeah,
intent's different.
and I'm actually glad we're talking about this shit now because there's so much of this, you know, what you're talking about on in chat. Like I claim to be a counterpuncher, you know, and shit. When I go at somebody, I go at them, and if people don't know me, oh, Andy's a bully. He's a bully. In my opinion, I'm a counterpuncher. You know, I'm just giving you what what you gave me. I mean,
I
I
had a
have
lot
put.
of history of doing stuff like that. Like my sister had a boyfriend. He was a tiny little guy, but people would pick on him, and then I would come walking and be like, "You got a
I don't
problem?"
like that.
Yeah, like I would just be like, "What's your fucking issue?" Like I would always stand up for. I don't tolerate with anybody. Like if I see anybody picking on somebody, like just because they're bigger than them or some shit, well, you're gonna meet me.
Right.
Yeah. It's the same thing, especially if you catch me in a bad mood. Like, I don't know what was going on, but when Angela was having her panel and I flipped out, I've done it a couple of times on chat, on live streams, because I don't tolerate that kind of bullshit. I don't
I do have
like
a
people
low
picking
tolerance
on
for it.
women. Uh,
I have a very low tolerance for it.
yeah. And I'm gonna give you an example because I'd like to swing the conversation towards this, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but it's about fat tolerance. Okay, I don't believe being obese is healthy, but I don't go
Exactly.
around calling these women on chat like fatty. Oh, I've seen so many rude remarks. The ladies that are women and fat on chat, they're just my buddies. I'm not trying to fuck them or something. And
Well,
I don't
I tried.
fucking call them names.
I try to more make them see what is the results of them doing this. They're harming themselves. They're shortening their lifespan. They're like limiting their mobility. They're limiting them, from doing a lot of things.
Right,
And
right,
like they're impacting their own lives. And all it takes is you wanting to change that.
right. Now I move chats. I guess we're all aware that space chat shut down. I think it's gone.
Yeah, I
I
think
didn't
was
even know.
Vira was bitching about it.
Oh,
Hmm.
oh, but anyway, I forgot. Oh, so the result is I've been going to this place called Vegas Chat, and there's a lot of women in there, and there's quite a few of overweight women, and they're aware of what's going on. I can pick up on little things and this and that. They're aware they need to lose weight. I'm sure it's not an easy thing. Just lose 200 pounds. When you have issues, whatever they may be, it's not easy to change. But I don't berate them to death. If they ask me, oh, Andy, any diet ideas, I'll tell them. And my hint is portion control, actually.
That is my main thing. Like fasting, goat fasting. When you can kick in keto, whenever your liver starts eating fat and then using that to make energy, breaking sugar into glucose, you just burn fat like crazy. I mean, it'll just melt off
Yeah.
your body.
Yeah, and there's this other chick. I don't know if y'all remember. I used to call her Fat Kelly because she was so verbally abusive to me. Do you remember
She
Fat
likes to
Kelly?
trigger people.
I
That's
remember.
Max. That's Max
Well, I
memes.
think she might be going under the name Max nowadays. But regardless, there's some overweight chick, who's abusive towards me. She's all about fat acceptance, fat pride, and blaming her fatness on other people. Oh, you make me want to eat because you voted Trump. Now I got to go stuff my face. I don't like that bullshit either. Nor, like I said,
Self-loathing.
I'm sort of
right.
in the middle on this. I like I do. Yes, fat shaming is a thing when you're just a dick for the sake of being a dick. However,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with telling people. Now, it's true that food in general and overeating kills more people than both smoking and alcohol combined.
There
So
you
you
go.
would
There you
be
go.
a now. It depends on your intent when you say it. So I actually give a shit about people. So it's like it's wrong to spare their feelings by saying you're perfectly healthy and great as
No.
you are, because it's a lie. It's not true. They're not healthy. They're not good.
That's the problem with a
And
lot of people nowadays. They lie to themselves and make themselves
Yeah.
feel better.
that's true, but
Yeah.
but people make
It's
it worse by just going along with it because it's like it's not worth hurting their feelings to them. And yeah,
A
I
lot of
don't.
people don't have parents anymore. Like when you were raised up in like
That's another big
the
issue.
early
That's a huge
1900s, you didn't
issue.
have the TV, you didn't have the radios, you had your parents every night. Every night it was you and your 9 other brothers and sisters and your parents. They would sit around and teach you things and discipline you, and you had to act a certain way.
What a crazy idea.
And you were taught how to eat right. Like my grandfather would not let me sit at a table. My left elbow could never touch that table. I had to sit with my hand down proper. Like if I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
anything, like
That's how I
like
was brought up.
say if I was my cousin and I, so I'd say my cousin's name, and me and my cousin, we're doing this. He'd be like, "Who?" I was like, "Me, my cousin and I." Like I could never say anything without
Yeah, yeah,
me
yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah,
very strict because he was brought up that
yeah.
and
Well, let me comment on that real quick. So I guess when I was in my mid to late teens, oh, me and Gadwin are going to do this. I started training because I know what's correct, Gadwin and I. And I started training myself and fuck what anybody had to say. Because part of the thing to me is peer pressure. People talk certain ways because of their groups and peer pressure. That's my
Mhm.
opinion. I mean, and some of it's survival. Like, around here, you might meet chicks that act like they live in the hood or something. And it's because of where they live. They need to behave like that so they don't get picked on or ostracized or victimized.
Well,
You
and they
know,
don't have the intelligence to get upward mobility. They don't know how to get out of that situation.
well, that's another thing too. And I don't care who the president is. It's like, my kids are grown. It's about making generational change. And honestly, it pisses me off. I mean, anybody that has kids, including both of y'all and myself, should want just a little bit better for your children's generation. And hopefully, by the grace of God, we all live long enough to see our grandchildren and that they're doing better than both of the generations. I think I
That
said that
that has
correctly.
been my goal. I mean, being a Bernie man, that's been our kind of future outlook. It's kind of like that
we
old
I
philosophy where old men plant trees in shade, for whose shade they'll never sit in.
There you go. Which is
so
funny. I'm going tree shopping tomorrow, and well, New Orleans they have this tree giveaway. But anyway, they're giving some oak trees away, and I was talking to my brother. I'm like, I ain't getting no freaking oak tree. I'm fucking be dead and gone. I'm gonna get something fast growing that I might see. I'm not
well,
planting no oak tree. I'm too far along in my life.
I've planted trees, but I got to sit in their shade, luckily, because they fucking grow quick.
Yeah.
But it's about looking out for future generations. And nowadays, too many people, because of capitalism, I need to have everything. And it's all about me now.
Well,
Me,
I
me,
don't
me,
know.
me.
And I
So,
see,
hate to say
we
it, Gadwin, I go back to blaming that on parenting, because I raised my kids, to be a little frugal. I mean,
some of
I'm
it's
doing all
parenting, but I think the system plays a major role as well. And
well,
see, we can all agree on we care about future generations and their plight, especially my children, your children, all that. So we can link up on that. I think the difference is we think that things will be better in very opposite directions because I believe that in the current situation and how things are going, my kids won't have a chance when they things are going to be way worse, and that's where I
I don't
disagree with Myth because I'll put a bet on it right now. We're going to get either in a recession or really close to a recession within the next few years. It's going to get really, really bad,
right.
and
Well,
I hope I'm wrong, but I really do believe it.
well, and this reminds me of other things. So y'all were talking about tariffs and this, that, and the other. And for whatever reason, I was talking to my brother on the phone last night, and he brought it up. And I'm gonna tell y'all what I told him. Fuck it. That's how I feel. Like right now, I ordered things from Timu. Call me a fucking hypocrite, but price me out of the game. Fuck tariffs. I just won't fucking buy the product. You know,
well,
I mean,
that's me. But I mean, there's a lot of things that like industries are going to need, like materials and things like that. That I mean, essential things
well,
for medicines and such.
yeah, yeah. To me though, Gad, I'm be honest. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I don't know if I used this as an example with y'all before, but I used to do eBay, and I did it for a long, long time. And I've seen the rules change quite a few times, three, four, five times over the years. And you know what the choice is with eBay? You can cry and whine, well, I'm going to leave, or fuck eBay. I don't need them. They need me. I'm going to a different platform. But at the end of the day, you know what you do? You fucking shut your mouth and you either keep on keeping on or you quit.
But
So
the
that's
the
my
problem is it's going to affect everything. So you can't just move elsewhere. We won't have any other options. Everyone's going to
Well,
be fucked.
and the adverse effect is, what tariffs are they going to put on us? All these places are going to be mad at us. If you think you can put tariffs on them and them not retaliate,
Well, I say endure. And, in this specific matter, I'm talking mainly about China. I think I saw something about, they're going to tax the European Union 10 or 15%. I don't know what European products I use, but I'm speaking mostly of China. I feel like the Americans have gotten lazy and conditioned to Chinese shit. I have
but that
Chinese shit all through my house. Almost
It's
everything I own is from China.
but
I
that's
agree.
import tax, not
Yeah,
tariffs.
that's
Tariffs are different.
that's true. But also, yes, China has an advantage, but we cannot fight them. Well, actually, and one of the only ways we've been able to fight them, funny enough, is immigration, due to
Right.
really low paid workers that, yeah, they aren't taxed, which you think is unfair, but they make goods cheaply so that we can afford it without getting goods from China. But the problem is they basically engage in slave labor. We're not gonna, well, I hope we're not gonna do that. Like just to compete with China, turn our children and our workforce into slaves, that would be
Well,
fucked.
and because of
No.
America, Mexico is now the leading industrial, producer of
Well,
goods.
that was
But now
going to be
everything
the
from
next
Mexico is
part of
going to
my
cost us more.
Yep.
I don't know. The way I look at it, I'm not going to say there's not going to be pain in the future, but we got to get off that Chinese tit. That's all
Well,
I'm saying.
what you're going to see is after Christmas, once Trump gets in, it's going to be after the New Year's when the new quarter starts. They're going to fire shitloads of people
Mhm.
everywhere.
They're getting rid of
course.
civil servants that
I
if
would
you're
hope
either
so.
if
I
you're
would
either
hope so.
neutral or democratic, he's going to get, but that's not a good thing because he's doing what Hitler did. He's trying to get rid of anyone that might stand in his way.
Tonight is
Let's
the
try to
100-year
live,
history.
look. It's a common practice. Incoming gets rid of people and brings their people.
No.
Andy,
I'm
I
not
beg
talking
you to
about
or not read it, but just look at 2025. It has about gutting like whole departments,
Dude, I'm not
everything.
going any. Education department's fucked. I wish he
No,
would do like that Argentina guy and fucking rip shit apart.
Dude, he's putting the RFK in charge of the FDA.
I don't care. So what?
He's an anti-vaxxer.
I
Dude,
think that
look
we're going to find
who's
out.
running for president. You're gonna, I hope you weren't pro Kamala, the two of y'all. But look, y'all gonna say shit to me, and then Kamala was who y'all were running. Are you kidding me?
So
I
just like
still have no idea what's
just
going
like
on.
I said before, I was not pro Kamala as much as I was anti-Trump, and that's the same for people that voted Trump, or most people. I was all about the lesser of two evils. That does not make me a Kamala supporter. I don't support her. I don't think she's great.
I don't know how people can say that the progressive, the Democrat Party needs to take their party back. I think I've talked to y'all enough. I have a lot of liberal leanings, but my God, it's going over the top in my opinion.
Just look into, or well, at least look into Agenda 47, where that's his proposal, his agenda he wants to run on. That when he gets in, you'll see all the stuff he wants to cut, like whole EPA departments. The whole EPA entirely. That's thousands, if not millions, of jobs.
Let me ask you this, Gadwin. Other than the defense, where do you think we could cut money and lower the budget? Leave the Department of Defense alone for now.
How about we
what social? No, let me narrow it down. What social programs?
I could fix our whole debt problem in about 5 years.
Okay, now you don't think anybody in the government is able to do what you are, and they can't? You
I'm
don't
not
think
bought
that
by
there's
any corporations.
Well, anyone can do what Gadwin's talking about
right?
if they were willing to and they were able to fight
Oh,
corporations. The problem is both Democrats and Republicans just take handouts from them and do whatever the hell they want.
well, yeah,
Exactly.
and y'all know way more about this shit than I do. But first of all, I appreciate you including both sides because that's part of my whole point. And there it is. You have that argument covered. You know, I mean,
I
you
was a
can't.
Bush. I was for Bush at one point. Like I had the the movie W. I actually liked the movie W. I there were some things I had about him I didn't like. I was a Ron Paul supporter. I was a
I
Bernie
wasn't even
Sanders
paying
supporter.
attention. I didn't pay attention to. I didn't really pay attention to politics till Trump came along.
I remember I
Before
said it at the
that,
beginning about growing up. I listened to it every day from 12 years old until 30.
the first time I voted was for the first time Trump ran. But I'll tell you this: I listened to Rush Limbaugh for at least a decade. But
Yeah.
right after Limbaugh, I would listen to Howard Stern for the whole afternoon. That's just. I think I heard you complain, Gadwin, about your boss.
I like Howard Stern.
The radio. Yeah, but Rush Limbaugh, and
Yeah, he was a
what
nasty man. Like he could not keep a wife, so that tells you his like private life. He's just as disgusting as he is on the radio. He says nasty things about people. He
yeah,
over
well,
like when Obama got in. Oh, it's the end of America. I mean, he said
but
that the Obamacare was going to end America for 8 years straight, and it never fucking happened.
right. I'd like to regress back to my question. So, where could we save some money on social programs?
Well, we
Well,
don't need to save money because the budget is a thing that they use to fearmonger, but honestly, it don't
Um,
mean anything. We're the
I
we
tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with that.
almost all of our debt used to be owned by China, but got bought by Japan, who is honestly basically our bitch, and that's me being polite. They do what we want. And like
Right.
who's going to collect on the United States of America?
well, and
No
the
one.
thing is, all we have to do is pay the interest. We don't have to pay any of that. We can
It's
rack
on
up
a good
debt
faith.
as long
It's
as we can
on
pay
good
the.
faith. It's
It,
on
well, it
good
The
is.
thing
faith.
is, it's fiat. It's a fiat currency. It's backed by faith. Nothing.
Mhm.
Right. And from what I understand, I'd have to do my homework on there about it. But I think the debt and all, I think the numbers could be jumbled around and dealt with. But again, like Trav said, debt is fear mongering, Oh, like if we can't eliminate debt, I remember, a decade or so ago, I think somebody eliminated it. But, honestly, there's no desire to eliminate the debt. And if you want to eliminate the debt, guess what? Some people are going to have to bleed, and that
Well,
includes Department
they
of Defense and it
use
includes
the
welfare.
the issue is they use the debt as an excuse to get rid of things so they can gut it so they can make
Hmm.
billionaires more wealthy and
Well,
more and give
here's actually
Well,
part of that, Trobs, is the Republican strategy was at first they would gut like our train system in America. First,
Mhm.
they
right.
gutted the money to it, and then they said, "Hey, look how bad this is! Look how bad it is! It's crumbling! It's falling apart!" So they first they cripple it, and then they complain about it after they crippled it,
Mhm.
and then that's them trying to get rid of it. And most likely, it's for the auto industry or some private industry that's
Mhm.
Let me
lining their
ask you:
pockets.
have you ever rode a train?
Yeah, I love them. I went up around Horseshoe Curve up in Altoona.
Yeah. I mean,
Beautiful
like
in the fall.
like for 1,000 miles or something, like a serious trip.
No, it was. I think I was only on for probably a good hour, maybe.
Nowadays, it's not the most efficient thing,
It was
and
an
I would
Amtrak.
also yeah, same here. And so, the thing is, I'll fall back to the fact that if there was money to be made, I'm pretty sure there would be some sector of people that would
It
say,
was
"Hey,
profitable. Republicans, if you look at the Trump, he actually wanted to cut all funding to it, but they cut it down to like, I mean, it was minuscule, like 150 million budget. I
funding
mean,
to who?"
to Amtrak. Amtrak's the train service that's provided by the government for the whole United States. That's the public
It's
transit.
not. It's not a private company.
No, the Amtrak is government owned. Just like Conrail.
Oh,
Conrail
really?
was a government owned
Well,
rail company.
well, fuck them then. If it's a government agency, fuck them. I'm
Well,
not for
no,
that.
because
Fuck
by
the
putting
government.
those public train systems in, so like if I wanted to go to California and uh, the train, is taken care of and managed and kept up, good, we'd have actually good train service. I can get on a train from here and be in California in a couple days and just ride from it.
Right. And I can be there. I can be there in 6 hours.
Well, trains came about more when, before airplanes. I mean, we
Right.
crossed the continent with train first.
Right. Now,
Well, wagon first.
where I don't know if they're already in existence, I mean, localized bullet trains and stuff like that. Well, New York has subways, we have streetcars here,
But it's almost more efficient that you could run trains because you could put how many cars on a passenger train and then be able to run these. If you had good straight tracks where we could run high speed trains, from New York, Chicago, Colorado, and then Colorado,
well,
somewhere else, and you could just
well,
slingshot around the United States in just hours,
I
like
don't
in
know.
Japan.
I think we're too large of a country. Japan is tiny,
I know, but
United
they have to
States
curve
is
around a lot
big.
of mountains and stuff. Well, go through a lot
It's
of mountains.
it's indifferent. It's a tiny
But
country.
China has a lot of high speed rail. Europe has a lot of high speed rail. They have
Yeah,
a cave they drilled through I think from Italy up through the mountains to France. It's
yeah.
miles long
I
tunnel.
got you. I
It would
got you.
require a pretty sizable investment, but I think it would pay off in the long run.
But see, right there's the
I
kind of
don't
work
know.
programs we need. So like FDR, he did the highway system. He did the Hoover Dam. So if we did like a works program for the American
Now,
people, so we
see,
take tax money and we build a high speed rail system across the United States, how many
now,
companies are going to bid for that? Get jobs
look,
and going to come in and help
the
do that.
works program, liberal program. Guess what? I'm for it.
Exactly, and then it puts the money right back. Those people are going to get government money, and then that money's going to get spent buying goods, and then it's going to get taxed back into the government.
Well,
You need that circulation of money. See, money's never
what's
meant to
going
be
on is
stagnant.
there are government works program things around here. I can think of some small stone bridges, some things in some of the parks around here. That shit's built to last centuries, and it gets people off their ass, gets people to work. But we have problems. I like the idea of the work program, but first of all, you got to get people motivated. And
Oh, if you give them something
kind
to
of
do, Americans will do it. That's the thing. They don't have nothing to do anymore.
To
well,
some
people,
extent, that's true.
but how can you say that when we need Mexicans to do the work that Americans
Well,
won't do?
hold on. There's another issue to the motivation problem, and I think it's something that you're not quite looking at, and it's the broken corporate structure and the fact that people don't make shit, and all of the corporations that employ people are taking up all the money, and the only people that even talking about fighting it is the left, but they actually don't care about it, honestly. But like the right,
Well,
just give them handouts and cut taxes for them. So no one's going to want to work if they're just killing themselves for pennies. It's not going to happen. So we
right.
got to solve
Well,
that problem somehow.
Well, see,
again,
a lot
like
of
to
times when it's
use
government funded work, anything over $20,000 government funded falls into the prevailing wage category. So when it comes into prevailing wage, when I was still doing it, when you did labor, just manual labor, it was $35 an hour. When you did steel work, $44 an hour. So like everything you did had a high wage.
Let me ask you this, Gadwin. Where does that whole prevailing wage thing kick in? Because I experienced it once.
Oh, so
Under
did you
what?
do state? State? It can fall into state,
Well, I
federal.
worked I worked at a federal Navy station, air station.
Yep. So if it was over a $20,000 project, then the company had to pay you prevailing wages.
But what percentage of workers would that cover?
Everyone that's working on that job site.
I know what percentage of. My point is, I'll just
Like
say it. In my
the
mind,
rate.
it's not a lot of people. So what's? I understand what you're trying to say. Hey,
Oh, so
I
like
understand
if I did like work for PennDOT, that fell under prevailing wage. Like if I worked for a
it.
school, that was prevailing wage. Like anything that's state owned or government run, that was prevailing
Right.
wage.
But
So
what
that's a
about
lot of
private
people.
sector? Right. So more. I don't get it. I mean, it's not like every government worker's making $40 an hour. I mean, I guess I was a contract laborer, and as a contract laborer, yeah, I was supposed to make prevailing wage. And but I don't know. It seems to me like prevailing wage at $30 or $40 supersedes what government employees are made. So I
I mean, that
guess
was like 7 years ago. So I'm sure those wages have gone up over time.
yeah, I
I don't
don't
know
know.
anything about this prevailing wage. I need to do some research on it.
I mean, you can
Yeah,
pop it
yeah,
up. I could just do it. Like each state, some states don't have it. Like a lot of the Republican-run states, they don't, do it at all.
They're probably going to try to gut the whole damn thing.
Well, one of the things
It needs to be fucking chilled out. Nobody. I was a cabinet installer. Okay, I don't need to be making $40 fucking dollars. 10 years ago or 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
but so this is their strategy. They want the middle class to blame the poor and the poor to blame the middle class for everything. And look how it's like you're focused on a person making $40 an hour, but you don't care about these corporate people that they're cutting taxes for that are making billions. Like when they don't even fucking do anything. Like, why is that not the issue? That should be the issue.
For me,
That's why they
call
use the
me an
media.
idiot or whatever. I'm worried about my day-to-day life. The corporations, this, that, and the other. I'm affected. You know why? Because I'm vested in the stock market. But as a whole, I don't give a fuck. I worry about groceries. I worry about gas.
But
I worry
it
about
affects
getting
all
laid.
of that, though. When corporations can pull off legal monopolies and basically own everything and pay people what they want, it affects
Right.
everything. Everything. Cable
Right.
service,
So,
freaking internet,
look.
fucking TV, groceries, everything.
All right, let me ask you this, and I don't know. I'm legitimately asking. What about, say, somebody like Google or who's that guy, the computer guy? But is Google a
Bill Gates.
monopoly? Yeah. What about him?
Well,
what
actually,
about Google?
Biden was, I think he's still in the middle of it. He's trying to sue Google for having ad revenue monopoly. And
Yep.
this is the point I'm making. Only the left try to take down these things and try to fight for antitrust laws. The right have gutted them and basically made it to where corporations can do whatever the fuck they want, and everyone's getting fucked because of it.
One thing that always bothered me that Republicans gripe about, they're always complaining about the inheritance tax. Oh, we gotta get rid of the inheritance tax. And you hear all these people complaining about the inheritance tax. My grandmother and everybody's always like, "Oh, the inheritance tax." Well, look up what level it actually kicks in. It's like $3 or $7 million when the inheritance tax actually kicks in, and it affects like 5%
Are
of
you
people.
sure about that? Are
Yeah,
you
look
sure
it up.
about
Hang
that?
on.
I will.
Yeah.
I actually will. But anyway, regardless, I don't believe in double taxation. It's just like me. Money I have invested in the stock market. I already paid taxes on that. Now
You wouldn't
I pay more. But
you
don't
wouldn't
want it
have
be
to
more.
pay you wouldn't have to pay much taxes, nor would I in my situation, if freaking corporations and wealthy people paid their fair share. That's the problem. That's what I keep going back to. That's the issue that needs to be tackled.
It's a vicious cycle. So then the owners, the stockholders are going to suffer. So they want a return. So they're going to have to sacrifice. And you can't say it's rich people because I'm not a rich person. I own quite a bit of stock.
No, it's not just like stockholders aren't just stockholders. A vast majority of the people that own stock are wealthy people. You are a minority. You're not like representative of most people. So yes, it is mainly wealthy people. And they also invest on their own things through dividends and stuff, which should be illegal.
Okay, here's the numbers. So the federal estate tax generally applies to estates over 13.61 million in 2024, 13.99 million in 2025.
Dollars.
Like nobody has that kind of money. They don't have to worry about losing
I
anything.
still stand by. I still stand by my stance of I don't like seeing people being double taxed. I don't care how much it
I
is.
say
That's just
the rich aren't taxed at all. They use our public road systems more than anybody for their logistics.
well, you just
They
talked about a tax. You just talked about a tax. Are you telling me they don't even have to pay the inheritance
oh,
tax you
that's
just
what I
told
mean.
me about?
How many rich people do you know are dying?
I don't know any rich people currently.
Yeah, and it's not many of them dying really. And if they do, why shouldn't they
Well,
just
no.
get
I
taxed
mean, if
after
you look,
$13 million?
look at our government because they have money to spend. They have money
Like
to spend on the
literally,
best
they
treatment.
can pass. You can pass down $13 million. Well, basically $14 million before it gets taxed under federal inheritance tax law. After 14 million is when taxes kick in.
Right.
Which, why
Exactly.
are you
And
worried about those
look,
people? Those people are going to be fine no matter what.
I'm gonna have to look into that because I thought I knew people that before they died, like shifted some money around to avoid that. I'm gonna have to look into that.
There might be a state. Some states have their own.
That's what I'm thinking.
But yeah, if you can, well, if that's the case, just put your stuff in a trust, and then just appoint a trustee, and then whenever you pass away, the state can't touch that, and that goes right to the
But
trustee.
overall, I don't think there should be a death tax. I just don't get it. I really don't.
There's easy ways around it. I still don't. Well, the Republicans stopped bitching about it, so they pretty much do the same. They just put everything in a trust, and
But so I asked you a little earlier again when what social programs might be cut to help save budget money. I never did get a clear cut answer. But I'm gonna
well,
throw
I
this
said
out there.
education, and then
Oh
well,
yeah,
most
okay, yeah.
likely all of our public transportation.
The
Yeah,
EPA
yeah, yeah.
and
EPA.
the
Okay, now
AP,
going back to
the Affordable Care Act, which protects older people, people who are chronically ill, and all that from getting screwed by insurance companies, that's going to get gutted as well. But go
Social
ahead.
Security,
no,
Medicare.
what I'm
Yep.
asking you is things that let me throw this out there before I forget. So education, okay, from my understanding, I may be wrong, is that I think worldwide we spend the most per capita or per student than anybody else in the world. And then, we're like crappy, our education
Well,
system's all fucked up or something.
I mean, that comes down to the cost of everything. So here in America, things just cost more. Teachers require a better wage. I mean, you have to pay
I'm
all the
not
bus
going to
services. You have to pay
I'm
water
going to
bills,
assume,
electric
right,
bills.
I'm going to assume, regardless of what you say, we spend the most money. I hear you. What about
Why can't we
Japan?
though? Look at our
Uh,
GDP. It's like what, like 39 billion
no,
or
no, no, no,
trillion
no, no,
dollars.
no. My point is, what good is it doing? What good is it
No,
doing? We got fucked
well,
up kids.
well, here, Andy. Here's the real thing: that our education system was not meant to make a genius. It's meant to make a factory worker can stand in one position all day and put a fucking nut and bolt together, and then do that over and
Hey,
over and
okay.
over again.
Now,
Make sure it's
okay,
grade
I'm gonna give
A,
you my opinion.
maybe grade
Okay,
B, but no C or lower.
okay. Look. Now, look, and I'm telling you this. I probably might have already told y'all. My son's on a full academic scholarship currently at
Because
a
the
very good
money is how you
university.
got higher education. So
Okay.
most likely, your
So,
higher education was always for the privileged, your
no,
rich
no,
white
no,
people
no,
for the most
no.
part, for the
Now,
longest time.
right, right, right. Believe me, I've been to some crappy public schools. I know the routine, and I know the pushback or whatever. But my point is, and I'll give you an example. My own son. Well, let me say what I was going to say, and I'll go back to this. I say this is what I say about education, especially how it has been. Is I taught my children. I'm my children's teacher. You know me. I'm a bit of a dick. I say things to you, but you know, I'm telling you, every evening when my kids were in high school and grade school, that was my hobby. I had to teach my son how to write. I taught him to be a whiz at mathematics. I spent hours per day, multiply 3 times 300 times 20. You know, that's the kind of time I spent with. Hey, you can laugh, but I'm serious.
Oh no,
You
I'm just
know,
laughing because of our last altercation.
I don't even remember. But anyway, so I forgot what I was gonna say. But anyway, I think a little bit more
You did good,
sending kids
Andy.
to school. I'm thinking more of, we're sending our kids to school to be factory workers. There's people that still go to work for engineering, and yeah, I guess
My
they go to
grandmother,
privileged school.
my
You
grandmother, her mother was the first of her family that was afforded to go to high school because back in her time you had to pay money to go to high school. And then my grandmother, she got educated by her, and she passed that on to me. When I was 5, she taught me to read. She'd
yeah,
force me
well,
to sit down and read, and I had to read like Billy. She had this little book that was literally falling apart. It had Billy Goat's Gruff. I mean, just old timey stories, and I had to learn to read those. And that's what she made me do. And she rewarded me. Hey, do this, and then you get a gift or
well,
something like that.
well, I believe in public school education. I don't care how bad the school is. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear about anything other than it's the teachers' problem. It's fucked up teachers.
It's
If you can't
50-50.
teach,
The
if you
teachers are
can't
there to
teach,
set the curriculum. The parents are there to enforce it at home and also probably learn it with
oh,
them.
that reminds me of what I was gonna say. I had to teach my son how to write cursive because that got eliminated for I don't know what the fuck.
It's back.
But
It's
I
back
had to
now.
teach my son how to write. And let me tell you something else. And I don't even, I never got any pushback on it. I never heard anything that negative about it, excuse me, around the dinner table. But I was helping my son do some multiplication shit. And he was crying. He was crying. Believe me, I'm not over his shoulder every second. But I just know he was like all stressed out and all this, that, and the other. And I go, look, okay, what's going on? Oh, we started doing math there. I mean, multiplication, Dad. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This new math. I don't know if you've ever been exposed to it, but it's some fucked up shit to me.
Well, let's just say my oldest helps the youngest.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean,
My
that's
oldest
good.
is a
You have
freaking whiz.
privilege.
He is a little math whiz and stuff. Like I don't
Well,
have to
hopefully the
help him.
youngster. Well, I got you,
I got to be
Dad.
more like I got to be the disciplinary. But like, hey, get your shit done. You fuck
Yeah.
up, I'm gonna put
Well,
my boot up your ass.
that's good. That goes without saying, and that's part of the whole issue in America, Dad. When I'm glad to hear you like that, but there's too much freewheeling going around with kids.
I'm a
Oh,
very
fuck
strict. I
this,
was
fuck
raised by
that.
the silent generation. I was not raised by boomer. Well, kind of, yeah, a dumb. Well, no, Gen Xer.
I have to say you probably were.
Gen Xer
You
raised me,
had
and that
boomers
was a
in you.
horrible. No, my mom was born as a Gen Xer, so my grandmother was silent generation.
My whole point is, look, things happen in life. Look, I have education issues. I dropped out of college, more than once. And
You remember what you insult me with every time, so
I know what you're talking about. And I look, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. Look, when I had a kid at home, I wouldn't have had time for the internet, dude. If he wasn't doing homework, we were in the garage playing and learning a song and learning
well, you have
guitar
to
and learning to sing.
like when I was young, my mother, when I was born, she went into epileptic seizures and shit. She couldn't raise me or whatever. So my grandmother started raising me, and like as soon as she could basically get to where I could understand, she's like, "This will be yours someday." I was everywhere at the business all the time as a kid, riding the forklifts around in the skid loaders. I mean, that was
Well,
my life growing up, and I was raised my whole life like, "Hey, this will be yours one day. This will be yours one day. This will be yours one day." And then I get to that point, and you get to be a young man, 19, 20, you just want to run around, fuck around, and do stupid shit. Well,
well,
they didn't like that, and so therefore I
well,
was penalized for that.
well.
And then it was no. Now you can have it's more of a carrot on a stick kind of. They're just holding in front of me, like, come on, and never like made me want to actually really apply. That's why I quit school to do that job because they're like, hey. You have a job. You don't have to worry about anything. Just quit school. Come do this now. And I did that. Well,
Let me ask you a quick question. This is out of nowhere. Have you ever been out in public and seen a kid with an iPhone that looked like they couldn't afford an iPhone?
no, I don't really try to be like that because anybody
I
can have a
could,
phone nowadays.
I couldn't identify an iPhone if I had to. It was just a general question.
I don't have a
think
phone,
that's
Andy. I don't even know how they're like alien to me when I use them. I'm kind of an
that's
idiot when it
good.
comes to using a
That's
phone.
good. That's good.
I'm a computer.
The
I'm an
one
old
thing
head from the
positive,
90s and 2000s, man. I'm a keyboard warrior.
I'm similar. Like, well, computers are better at anything an iPhone does, so I see iPhones as sort of a waste. Like, I don't use
yeah,
them in the way that other people use them, and I don't stay like this all frickin' day. But I do stay
yeah.
like that on the computer. Don't get me wrong.
Right, and that's part of my point. Cause see, I do use a phone. I don't have a laptop. My brother was harassing me about getting one. I'm like, I don't need one. I have a desktop and my phone. I like doing chat stuff on the phone. You know why? Cause it leaves me mobile. I do other shit. I've been doing shit since I've been talking to y'all. Picking shit up, looking for this. I pulled some food
Well,
out the
see,
fridge. You
that's
know?
kind of the counter to my thing. See, I like it that I can just detach. When I get up and go away, I'm detached. There is no more computer. There is no temptations to pick it out and look at it. So I don't get
Right.
distracted when driving. I don't get distracted at work. I don't get distracted when doing things because I'm not having that distraction in my pocket.
I wish I had
Yeah,
that.
well,
I get distracted
for
by
me,
everything.
Well, anything that
I
moves
don't
around me, I'm gonna look at it.
I don't want to be hyper focused on the fucking chat. I mean, I don't know. It's just a pastime. I fell in the chat because of COVID, and here I am. I'm addicted to this shit.
Oh, I was here
Right.
before that. You should have been here when I was telling them the fucking pandemic was coming and all the people are gonna be affected and everything markets are gonna crash and then it fucking happened. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, well, I'll start calling you Nostradamus.
Dude, it freaked me out because I was just kind of riffing at first, and then I sent Bianca even a video about how Milan like literally boarded people in their fucking homes whenever the Black Plague came.
Yeah, Bianca and I used to be enemies back in those days. We were
What?
enemies.
Oh man, and then I mean it's just that fucked with everybody, dude. That pandemic being like the lockdowns.
Yeah, it fucked up my social life. It fucked me
It
good.
didn't affect me at all. I was already a hermit, man. I was like, I'm already doing this. I'm just get to keep doing it.
Pretty much. That's
Uh,
how it was for me. It didn't affect me really.
well, look, this is y'all talking about economy, or economy was brought up, grocery inflation, and all this. You
Hmm.
know,
Well, a
grocery
lot of that's
prices
because we
have.
play those kind of games where that's the basis.
So, regardless of whose fault it is or whatever, I've seen grocery prices raise, and on some stuff rise. I've seen it dramatically go up, like eggs, for instance. Like a
That's
We
good
them
steak.
raising
we
prices
we
I
because
haven't
they
all
had a
can.
agree
good
on we all agree on that, but the problem
right,
is it's about to get worse, not better,
right.
because of
Well,
the reason why it happened in the first place.
okay. So I'm gonna finish on that. So my point is, I'm gonna fall back on my eBay example. What am I
Okay.
supposed to do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find a way. Like right now, I quit eating steak. I haven't had a good steak in a year. Because I refuse to pay that much money for a piece of meat.
Well,
Oh,
and
That's
I'm,
y-
huh?
that's
go to
fair, but there's something else you can do. Go to politically join up with the people who are fighting the corporate fucks that are making the shit so expensive in the first place. Like that's the only thing you really can do.
we need independence like Bernie Sanders. If we had like Congress and Senate where we had at least, a third that was independence that really could move votes instead of this 50-50 bullshit,
Hmm.
Right.
we could get some actually
Well,
like progress for the
well,
people.
Hmm.
Well, I'll make a comment on that. I do believe in term limits. And from what I'm understanding, whether y'all like it or not, the Republicans have control. For better or worse, I hope the fuck they make some things happen.
Well,
Whether y'all
I'll say
disagree with
this because I'm not like a hardcore leftist and I have a lot of problems with the Democrats. I will say this: if the right, and I don't think they will due to history, if they will tackle the problem of money in politics and corporate structures and how they can do basically whatever they want, I'll fucking become a right winger. Like
But that's not the case in any
I will
way.
flip,
look. I'm gonna ask you
but
this.
it's not
I'm
going to
gonna ask
happen.
you this because I brought this up to somebody else on a different panel. What is a right winger?
Well, it's a very generic term, so it's different things depending on the person saying it. So when I say it, usually it really depends on the context of what I'm talking about. But sometimes
Exactly.
it's more social, sometimes it's more economics. But in this case, what I mean is right wingers, and when I say right wingers, I don't mean you. I mean Republicans, the actual people
Well,
that make laws and
I don't
stuff.
know. I mean, is it meant to be a put down or an insult?
Well, in this case, it sort of is but I'm talking about the actual people that make policies. The right wing. This is just a fact. The right wing in general protects these people that are fucking Americans. That like Donald Trump the first time around, he cut taxes for the wealthy, and he wants to cut it down to even 15% now.
What? It's because he is one of them.
Exactly,
Now,
but
let me
that's
ask
the
you
thing.
this. Now, you say about protecting things or whatever. Could you say the same thing about left wing Democrats? That there's a faction that do the same thing as
Oh,
the right wing?
absolutely,
thing
but
is,
not to the same extent though.
there is left-wing billionaires like Bill Gates. He's left-wing, and he supports being taxed. He's like, tax me. Take my Warren Buffett says, tax me. This isn't fair. What I'm paying. It's ridiculous. I pay less taxes than my secretary.
Well,
Right.
you are you pro tax, Gadwin?
I am for tax. I'm saying put another 93% Eisenhower tax back in place. Anything over 3 million is taxed at 93% unless you do write-offs or you're buying like
What?
building a building, or cars, or buying your whole all your
Yeah.
employees new jackets or something. That's the only way
You
you can
know,
write it off.
well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm anti-capital gains tax, and I think it should be pretty obvious by now. I'm involved with the stock market, and I played the stock market with tax dollars. Now,
Oh, I know all about
willing to
that.
pay? Am I willing to pay a little bit? Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, I mean, Bernie had some pretty good ideas for just like basically a cent on each transaction or something like that. 1 cent. And then use that to basically fund healthcare.
Well, you know, look, I want to. Fuck. What was I thinking about? Shit, something I forgot. It might have had to
You
do with
need to get you some
education.
ginseng. You
Oh,
need some
oh,
memory
oh.
booster.
Oh yeah.
I
Well,
need some memory booster.
like you guys,
Ginseng's really good for
I
that.
have my own issues. I get pretty scatterbrained, because I'm thinking about multiple things at a time. So yeah,
I do when I
I
get
am
in
a
a
little
tangent.
flighty, and it happens to me on panel, and it sounds like I'm a fucking retard, but it's because I guess I need some psych meds or whatever. But
You
see,
need
I'm gonna
some
do it
Ritalin.
again. I'm gonna forget. So the point I wanted to make about social programs. Now, this is something I personally feel. Are y'all aware of the summertime food stamp program or meals program for the unwealthy or whatever you want to call them? Are y'all aware of that program?
I've heard a little bit about it. I'm not extremely informed on it.
All right. Well, Gadwin, are you familiar with it at all?
What? Say it again.
Well, basically, what's going on, the federal government is putting additional money on people's EBT cards. I think 100, I don't know, 120, 180 a month for each kid, during the summer.
I have no issues with feeding the kids. I mean, if it's food
Okay,
going for
I
kids,
don't
I am
either. I don't
100% for it.
either. I have no issue feeding the kids. But
Believe
this
me,
is my
I grew
point.
up where it was pretty poor. I've seen a lot of people abuse the food stamp system.
Thank
I've
you.
seen
Thank
it,
you.
and I am fully against it. Like, a lot of the people that are abusing the food stamp systems are drug dealers. Drug dealers a lot of
Well,
times are on Social Security, so they're abusing all the systems they can, and then they're also drug dealing, and so it looks like they're not making an income because that's black market, and they're
yeah,
avoiding
of
paying
course.
taxes, and so that does piss me the fuck off. But then
Okay.
there's a lot of
So
times
on that
people
note,
who
go
are
ahead.
actually are
Go ahead.
disabled and then drug dealers, they're doing it to actually make money so they can actually fucking survive because they can't live off Social Security because it doesn't pay enough.
They
So
don't qualify. They don't qualify for Medicaid. If they
Well,
have to sell
like,
drugs, I would think they would qualify for Medicaid.
like Social Security right now, like the disability, you're probably only getting like $1,500 a month to live on.
So I don't know what the cutoff for Medicaid and all that is. But anyway, before I get distracted again, I'd like to continue on the food stamps. And you mentioned about abuse, okay? Now, this is my take on it. believe it or not, I have the privilege of knowing some crack whores that are on food stamps. So I've seen the ins and outs. I know how it goes. I used to buy food stamps. I don't do it anymore because it's wrong. But anyway, my point for the summer program is that it's redundant. And there's some corporation or, it's being pushed by the left wing. It's not needed. So I would say the same thing. Who the fuck's benefiting off of this? It's not needed. The kid already is on food stamps.
Well, exactly.
Food
Here's how you
stamps are
fix.
enough.
I could fix all this. One simple program. It replaces everything. It's a replace all. Basically, we have to set up a UBI system, a universal basic income. We set it to $3,000 a person. We eliminate every single welfare program. We eliminate all of them. Social Security,
Right.
Medicare, you name it, everything. So that there's no employees anymore for that. There is no the other costs, and now just everybody gets $3,000. Nobody can bitch because everybody gets it. You turn 18, you get $3,000. That can supplement you for housing, food, whatever
What's
the
the
fuck
odds
you
of
want.
that ever what's the odds of that ever happening?
Nixon actually tried it in the 70s.
What's the odds of it happening, Gadwin?
It's slim. I mean, Europe, Canada's tried,
Right.
doing trials of it.
No, it's not going to happen while we're around. But I'd like to
Here's
finish
the
my
reason that they're really pushing for it now is because with automation, automation and robotics is about to replace humans on a massive scale. People do not realize that.
When is automation gonna? What day? What year?
Well, we've
When
had
is this
automation
gonna
since
happen?
1920s, and it's just progressively, getting better.
It's progressive. I agree. It's progressive, just like welders
it's
in
always
the
been replacing
welding
us.
machines.
The tractor has
welding machines.
replaced many
Huh?
workers on the farm. Like one tractor replaced many hands on a farm,
Yeah,
and
thank God.
but it's only progressing like in the robotics nowadays. Amazon now has robots in their fulfillment centers where people used to
Yeah,
do
that's
those
great.
jobs.
Yeah, they follow the line, go up. Okay, 5 clicks up,
No,
5
they look
clicks
like
to the right.
humans. No, they look like
Huh?
humans. They look like humans, the ones that actually
Oh,
fulfill
I
the
think I
orders.
might have seen those. I might have seen that.
You need to
It
look
does,
up
but
the Open AI robot. That thing is just creepy.
look,
It
at
talks
the
just
end
like
of
a
the day,
human.
it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't
It
matter
does
to
to the
me.
corporation who wants to cut costs. So they spend, $150,000 on that robot. Well, they
I'm
replace
not
one
saying it
worker.
doesn't matter to
They
the
get that
corporation.
return in what, 3
What
years?
should the
Or no,
what
5
should
years?
the worker do? What should the worker do?
They can't do anything. So that's why they need a
Yes,
UBI.
they can. They can get another job. They can move.
Eventually
They
there
can
won't
get
be
an
jobs.
education. You know what? I used to work in a fucking freezing cold warehouse. You know what the fuck I did? I went to school. I fucking suffered for a couple of years because I was too dumb to stay in college. So I had to do a repeat of a repeat. I don't, there's things that can be done. It's just like people, oh, I don't get paid enough. Oh, this, I don't have any benefits. You know what? That's another thing. I used to not have benefits. I was a draftsman. I used to be a cat. I'm not saying I was anybody great, but I made a personal change, and I would
Let's just say
recommend
your
that.
average American is probably around 90 IQ, and they might not
No, it's
know a lot of.
100. Isn't it 100?
It's really state dependent.
It used to be, but I don't know now.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
what's like 1,000 points.
let's say to me it's pretty good compared to a lot of countries.
Yes, it's actually we are one of the smartest countries in the world by percents. We have the most education. Some of the most best universities in the world are here in
Right.
America. We have some of the best educated people, and then we have some of the dumbest motherfuckers. Like you get out into Florida, and those motherfuckers are just fucking beating each other with alligators over fucking who stole whose meth. And
I never saw that. But
I'm
look,
just
we can both
making
agree.
something up.
There's
It's just
crazy.
crazy.
There's drug heads. There's bad people on both sides. Just like Trump
We
said.
can't
There's good people on
guarantee
both
certain
sides.
circumstances for everybody, but we can guarantee a way for upward mobility.
Hand out. Look, I want to finish my food stamp thing. I still haven't been able to finish that. So, I don't know what's so funny about that.
You get off
But
your
anyway,
off track so easy.
yeah, Gadwin, believe me, you have something to do with it, okay? Because you have a lot to say, okay? And I've been polite, so I'm not just the only problem here.
I know I'm a big
So
mouth.
anyway, I'd like to say, because you mentioned about corporations, this and that and the other. Well, to me, I don't know who's benefiting off the summertime food program. Maybe the food vendors or whatever. But again, and the Republicans didn't have the balls to stand up. There were some, but I don't. Redundancy. There's no need for kids to get summertime assistance for food.
Okay, well
They're
here, let
already
me
Wait a
paint you a
second. They're
picture for this
already
though.
on food stamps. They're already receiving enough money. Why give them more? What is the point?
I mean, okay, let me paint the picture here. Okay, so most people
Sure.
in America, your average person doesn't pay anything into food stamps. You don't pay into the SNAP program until after you make like it's around $60,000, and at that point you only pay
Wait a second. So you're talking about it through income tax?
Yeah, like taxes and everything. Nobody, like anybody under like
No,
60,
no, no. In
it's 50 some
particular,
thousand or something like that.
not taxes and everything. Is it specifically income tax? How
The
how is the
federal,
food stamp? How is the
I think
food
to
stamp
the
program
federal income tax. It's just probably a little box that's checked on there or something,
Okay,
gets checked or whatever.
exactly. I don't
Um,
recall. I don't recall checking any box for food stamps.
well, it's divvied out of whatever your tax,
It's
whatever.
it's a funded program.
But it's
You know,
it's a tiny percent. It's less than 1% out of what you pay in
right,
federal income tax.
I'm not
And it
gonna.
doesn't
I'm not
affect
gonna
you unless
deny
you
that.
make over like $55,000. So the only people who can really bitch about food stamps would be the middle class who pay very little actually. 'Cause like when you start actually paying in the food stamp program, it's only like $50, $60. It's barely anything.
Well,
It's really
I'm
the
bitching.
rich that are paying the
I'm not
majority of
rich
it.
and I'm bitching. I'm not rich and I'm bitching
But you probably
because
don't
it's
pay
a
much
waste
into
of
it.
money. It's a
And I
waste
have
of money.
But think about this. You pay into it. What happens when you need it? What happens if you know everything, you lose everything? And now you need
Gadwin,
food assistance. I have no problem with you
Gadwin,
using it. If
Gadwin.
you need it,
I'm
get it.
saying Gadwin, I'm saying it's redundant. I'm not saying we don't need a food stamp program.
Well, I know,
I'm
but
saying
that money also would, like, what's wrong with taxpayer money from the rich going into small businesses selling food, extra food to kids? I have no problem with kids eating some extra. I mean, yeah, some of them could, probably run a little extra after it, but I have no
why?
problem with these
Wait,
small people
why?
getting extra
They
money from
already
it's government.
they're
It's government.
already getting them. They're already getting a monthly dividend.
It's a way of taking rich people's money and putting it back into the economy.
Whatever.
Well, that's the thing that gets me is like it's there's a lot of concern about welfare when it comes to poor people, but a vast majority of the total expenditure on welfare is corporate welfare. Why do we not have a problem with that? That's the
Oh
issue.
yeah,
Well,
Walmart gets
then see, I wanted to
piles
ask
of
y'all
taxpayer
that.
money.
So no. I am going to speak now. So you said, oh, what's wrong with a little bit of money being put back in the economy? Well, how about, oh, it's for the corporations, oh, so the big food providers, Tyson Chicken gets bigger and bigger because of the food stamp program. Oh, you need to look into that.
I think you should
I
read
mean,
Karl Marx. I think you might learn something, especially about like fair day capitalism and late stage capitalism.
I'm just a dumb free thinker. I just bullshit my way through stuff.
Well,
And
I think the problem with Karl Marx is he talked about many philosophies, and just because somebody chose one and then named him that his put his name on that philosophy and said, no, this is Marxism
well,
now.
That's why I don't dive
He
too
talked about
deep into
capitalism, all
all of
kinds of
that.
shit.
I choose to remain, I try to be uninfluenced and go with what I believe in, which again is a food stamp program. And I hear complaints about corporations. Somebody, now you're saying, oh, put money back into the system. The system for food is corporations. I mean, come on.
Well, see, that's what socialism.
Get me straight on this.
So socialism is like, so we all pay in money, so we pay taxes. Yeah, we might hate it, but it's going to give us all, generally good things. So we're going to have public parks. We're going to have policemen to protect us.
Generally,
We're going to have
It's
public
sort of,
roads.
it's already what we have to some
I'm
extent.
talking about a blatant waste of money that a blind person can see. That's my example.
You're
But
always
you're
going to
saying,
have waste when you're as big as America. The only way you're not going
cut
to
it,
have waste if
cut
you
it,
shrink down to
cut
a
it,
tiny little.
cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it. You know,
Well,
it's
then
like,
you go with my UBI program. That's the only way you probably could do it without.
again, I'm going to ask you again, when is that going to happen?
Well, eventually capitalists will have to, because eventually there won't be enough work, and people will need to buy shit for them to be profitable. And if they can't make a quarterly profit, then people start selling stocks, and then it tumbles.
What year? How long will you have been in the ground when this happens? How
Well,
long
see,
will
now
you
we
have
have.
been dead and gone and forgotten when this happens?
It's coming around the corner right now. Trump's going to open the floodgates
Around the
for the
corner.
rich.
Give me some years. Quantify it. Please
Well,
quantify
you're
your
watching
statement.
Elon Musk right now. He's going to become one of the first major oligarchs, and he's a foreigner at that, which I find funny. So Trump's best
What's an
buddy is a foreigner that got here
What's an
illegally.
oligarch? What's an
Oligarch.
oligarch?
It's
So
a wealthy person that controls the government.
well, yeah, it basically pulls
Okay.
the strings like a puppet master.
Yeah. So there's people that have influence. There's way more. Bill Gates influenced the government. Donald Trump
As much as you
influenced the
think, Bill
government.
Gates actually does a lot of good. Like he eliminated
Rich
malaria in Africa
people
pretty much.
influence. Rich people influence. It's not just Elon Musk. He just happens to be the richest man in the world. Hopefully, the man's got a little goodness in his heart.
And
That's
a lot
my
of that
hope
money
and
came
prayer.
from government contracts too.
So what? Who has a government contract for the food stamp summer program, Gadwin? What rich person's gonna
But
profit off of
how
that?
much does this even cost? This is probably like pennies in the fucking bucket compared to like
I don't know.
the salary of Congressmen and shit.
Listen to this. To me, the savings on the summer food stamp program, it built a lot of freaking wall on the southern border. I don't care how little you say it is. It built a lot of fucking wall on the
That
southern
wall
border.
hasn't done anything. We passed a wall bill in like 2003. George W. Bush Jr. built an 800-mile long wall on our
That's
border that we
okay.
didn't
That's
have.
okay.
I find it
Just
hilarious
hopefully
that
Trump
Trump goes
hopefully
back
Trump
to
does
what we
what
already
he
did
said.
and then says that we need to do them, but we already did them. Like his whole slogan, "Make
Hopefully,
America Great," was taken from Ronald Reagan.
hopefully there's a meaningful wall that gets built. Not like some little wooden fence or some tin nailed to a post.
We don't need any of
Hopefully
that.
there's a meaningful wall built.
We don't need any
And
kind of wall. Our patrol
yes,
now, all
we
they
do. I'm
no,
gonna tell you
listen,
something, and
listen.
you can
We
deny it
see
all
them
you want.
before they ever come
Walls
across.
work.
We have
Walls work.
boats that go
You
up and
live
down the
inside
Rio
a
Grande
wall.
all the time with heat vision goggles and shit, cameras, whatever. They see anybody before they move. There's a guy, Channel 5 News, I put it on your Discord drops. He goes over to Mexico, he finds some coyotes, and it has them sneak him across the border, and he got fucking caught. And the cops are like, "Yeah, we saw you before you ever fucking crossed." They were already tracking him, following him, and like they catch so many people. It's just that we do not have the manpower to deport them. We don't have enough judges and all that shit to
Don't let
actually
them
get
in.
the fuck
You
out.
know what? You know how you
We have
you
them
know
in
how you
detention centers, and that's costing us money. It costs money
what's
to
it called?
detain these people.
Catch them and put them back over on the other side of the border. How about that?
What do you want? Mass graves? I mean, are you gonna let them in, or are you gonna fill
Mass
mass
graves.
graves? What is your
They can
thing
just
that you
they
want to
can
do with
walk
them?
they can walk back home. They walked here, they can walk back
No, you
home.
complain about tent cities outside these fucking places. Now, what do you want done with them? Do you want to kill them or not?
Not did I
Do
complain
you want to
about
kill
10
all these
cities?
people? Do you want
I
people
didn't
to kill
complain
people
about 10
fleeing from
cities. I
terrorism in their own
didn't
country?
complain about anything. I'm telling them to walk home. I didn't say a word about tent
The
cities.
problem I hate with
Fuck that.
Republicans right now is
Those
they spent
motherfuckers will live in a tent city for decades. Fuck that.
exactly, and for decades they've watched American propaganda. We are the bastion of freedom. Come here, America's the fucking greatest place. These motherfuckers don't know anything. They fucking walk thousands of fucking miles
I
to
don't
here,
think
and
Trump. I
America's
don't
like,
think
"Hey,
Trump was
fuck
saying
off."
that. I don't think Trump was saying that.
It's strange to me because I've made this case before. Even if you're hardcore about immigration, which is fine, I'm not that hardcore about it. But like Trump is not the answer. Like by percentage and raw numbers, Biden sent more people back across the border than Trump. Obama's number
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
I got
Biden's
you.
number
Okay,
two.
that's
Trump is
that's
number
great.
three.
That's great. That's great. Keep up the good work. Let Trump build on that, but build a
But you
wall in the
believe
meantime.
Trump's lies. That's the problem.
Which
Trump
lie?
lies
Which
to you,
lie?
that he will deport all these fucking people. When he was in charge, he did absolutely fucking nothing. Oh, and another thing, Trump's the one that fucking passed that trans surgery bullshit for the military in 2019. It's never
Well,
fucking
you
Biden.
know what?
And he bitches about these shit. Trump is just the dumbest motherfucker I've ever
We're,
seen.
we're going to see what happens. And if you're going to insult Trump, I'm going to insult people too. If you're going to start calling people stupid, look, there's not. Please don't do that.
By definition,
It's going to drag this conversation down. See, now you want to start. See, you're going to drag this. We're having a reasonable conversation. Don't drag it down into the gutter.
Get me all riled up.
So on that note, let me ask y'all a question. Do illegals affect Americans' wages?
In a positive way, yes. They bring down the cost of goods mainly.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying.
What
We're
about
about to
worker
get
wages? What do they do to worker wages?
They work for slave wages to pick your fucking vegetables and fruits so you don't have to pay exorbitant prices.
So they're bad for American workers' wages?
They're doing the jobs that Americans were already refusing to do because Americans are mostly lazy.
That's a catchphrase. I see Mexicans working construction. I see illegals at Home Depot and all this bullshit. Dude, don't tell me, Americans would pick fucking fruit, if they had to, but if they don't
it's
have
not going to happen.
I picked fruit before.
All you gotta do is look at the first time when Trump was in office. There's so many farmers that went out of business because of Trump.
Americans aren't picking fruit. Look, it has to be worth the person's time. It has to become something valuable. It's valuable to an illegal because I guess it's more than they make in their home country. Yes.
You just get ready to pay high prices for everything. Everything.
I said when this initiated, fuck China, I'll pay more for my plastic junk. And guess what? I paid 69 cents for an avocado the other day, which I was pleasantly surprised. I'll pay a fucking dollar for it, or I'll do without it.
If this is the case, then every season you'll have, maybe here in America when it's actually in season, it'll be cheap for a little bit. But after that, everything has to be imported. Tomatoes, lettuce, all the different shit gets, imported depending on what season it is.
Yeah, I agree. Summer prime time here, corn's dirt cheap.
Yep.
But my point is, and my answer to a lot of what you say, and I'm not just saying this because I'm up here on this panel, I'm willing to pay more. Tax me like that. Tax me through my pocketbook to, in my mind, make things to kind of fucking even things off. Like I said, I'll pay more for an avocado. I'll pay more for a bell pepper. I'll pay more for fucking onions, or I'll live without. Just like I currently live without meat.
But the question is, what are you trading for that though? What is your end goal? Like a lot of people were complaining about the economy, yet the economy is going to get worse due to these policies. So what do you want? What are you looking for?
My end goal to end this illegal immigration. Well, we're talking about wages, and I'm talking about Americans' wages being drugged down by illegal immigrants. So my end goal is for Americans to have improved income.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, but I am going to call it now, and I hope I'm wrong, but it's going to go exactly in reverse. The middle class and the lower income, especially their disposable income is going to drop drastically in the next 4 years.
Now let me ask you this. Okay, over the decades, which would cover numerous presidents of different parties, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. If you pulled it up on the computer, and I think y'all are going to know this off the top of y'all's heads, for your average American, okay? average blue collar American, how much money do they save? How much money do they have saved?
They can't. They got to spend
Okay, so
110%.
okay. So now Trump said less disposable income. Well, if you can't save, do you have disposable income?
Trump wants to put a flat tax of 15% on
And that
everybody.
wasn't
Meaning
the question. That wasn't the question.
The
I
not
want
gonna
point
you to explain
they're gonna have to
about
pay taxes
disposable
now.
income.
the
I,
point
won't
want,
have-
is
I don't understand how somebody that's broke has less than broke.
because you still have things. Some people have vehicles. It's going to get to a point where like people won't even be able to afford vehicles. Like they'll just all of their money is going to go to food and rent, and that's it. It's going to be, in my opinion, way worse. And yes, it can
Utilities.
get worse.
When do you foresee this happening?
I think it's going to be within the next 2 years after
Okay,
the
now-
administration begins. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll
let me
admit I was
ask you
wrong.
this. Let me ask you this. Right now, currently, the American worker who Gadwin says cannot save a fucking penny, what are they spending their money on?
Rent, utilities, and food. And
Okay,
gas.
just like Trump said, that's all they're going to be able to afford.
The average
And-
car owner spends around $10,000 just paying for insurance, fuel, and maintenance a year. So just for owning a vehicle, you're
Yeah,
10,000
well.
in the hole.
Now, I'm not going to say, I don't have to agree or disagree with that because I'll just say I ride a fucking motorcycle. I laugh at all this bullshit.
Well,
Yeah,
it-
I know.
And I
but
take
for me,
Uber.
but for me, it's not about me. I'm good. It's
Exactly.
about all Americans. Like more people are
Right.
going to be fucked, and that's
Right.
my problem.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm worried about the American worker and the fact that illegal immigrants drag down.
That's why I was saying about the
drag down
15%
wage.
flat tax. Because
But
it's
I
a federal
still-
income tax that he wants
So-
to put
Okay,
15% on everyone.
Again, I like to deal with realism, and that's why I asked Trobs how long. He's saying in 2 years. I'm basically saying what his prediction's always been. You pay to live, and you hopefully have enough to buy a clunker. That's the American way.
But it doesn't
That's
make
how
it.
Americans
But
live.
it doesn't make it equal. If my point is, there are people that are right now barely getting by. So if things get worse, all of those people will be homeless, and then people that are a little bit further up that have a little bit more disposable income, they'll be in the same place that these people were before. That means it's worse overall.
Crime will go through
Well,
the roof.
hopefully
the higher
they
poverty goes. More crime
Hopefully
will go.
they maintain sanity, then they can get welfare, food stamps, and Section 8.
No, all of that's getting gutted, dude.
Fucking crazy people and drug addicts are on the street.
Yeah, they don't care.
It takes a
The
little
rich
time, but
don't
look,
care.
They don't give a shit. It's
They
do
don't
you
see
think
you.
look? I'm not even talking about the rich. I'm talking about these. You're talking about all this in poverty. Poverty is going to happen, tribes. I mean, there's an answer. We have a safety net for people like that.
but
need
not
to
for
look into the
long because
future
it's going to
and
get cut. It's going to get gutted along with pretty much
so
every
now,
other.
So welfare and food stamps are going to run out?
No, it's going to get cut. And
There will be none.
also, if enough people are poor because of the policies that make the wealthy people richer, which screws everybody over, if they don't put insane amounts of more money, then those safety nets will no longer cover what they need to because it'll cost millions of dollars more.
Well,
So,
again, I'll fall back to this. Then we can cut some things back. Fuck it. We might have to close some state
Now,
parks.
Why do you want to
Fuck
do this
it.
for Trump, but yet under Biden, when it's a booming economy, he's bad?
Do what?
You want to
Do
do all
what?
these sacrifices for Trump, but yet when it came to Biden, all you people did was bitch
I
about
don't know
how
what you're
everything was
talking
wrong.
about. I've been this way for decades. I don't know what you're talking about this way.
Yes, but now you're saying you're fine because Trump's in office. That's fine now. Trump's in office. I'm
Did
fine
I
with
say that?
suffering
Did
and
I
not having
ever
shit.
say I was
But when
fine with
Biden's in
Trump?
office,
I
he's
said I
horrible.
hope and I pray Trump does right. I didn't
Angela,
say
the
I was
fucking
fine, but I'll
interest
go
rate's
out on a
2.1%
limb and
right
say
now.
I'm more confident than if Harris was in office. I'll say that much.
Angela, you got a brain like a fucking potato.
You have a brain like a fucking retard. You fucking, lay off the insult, dude. You sounding like a stereotypical liberal Democrat. when you
Dude,
resort to
you guys
name
insult
calling.
me all the time. I don't want to hear
Did
it all the
I
time.
insult? Have I insulted you once since we've been talking?
No,
Because
no,
you've
no.
done it to me. Because
You
you've done it
were
to
on
me
me pretty
numerous
hard the
times.
other night.
You,
You were pretty hard the
I'm
other
not
night.
talking about that. You know, when you're lip flapping on chat, can we just leave that alone for the moment? We're speaking live in person. I'm speaking to you politely. You know, I'm not being overly aggressive. I'm trying not to talk to you. I'd appreciate you if you wouldn't call me an idiot or stupid or I have the
I call you
brain of
right.
you know.
I didn't call
And
you- I
I'm
didn't
just
call you
going to throw this out there, Gadwin. It's kind of makes your argument look better when you start, you know, name calling somebody. It kind of takes away from
You know
your
what?
argument.
That was like the most timid thing. You got a brain like a potato, and like,
Dude, look.
I say the most
It-
mild things, and
I'm
then you
glad you're
motherfuckers will
amused.
say the
Oh,
rudest
look at
things
me.
to me.
He's such a little bitch. He can't even take a name calling. Well, fuck you.
I didn't even call you anything.
Now, I'm going to carry on with the conversation. So, yeah, anyway, so if it reaches a stage where, all people can afford is, you know, shelter and, anyway, no, if all these people become homeless and the programs run out, as I was saying, well, just like I have to budget, the country's going to have to budget. You know,
It's going to
so
be
guess
like
what?
yeah, but it's like too bad, so sad. But what is the reasoning? It's for no good reason, just to make rich people richer. No one's better off. That's it.
Well, I don't.
Other
Well,
than rich people.
look. At the end, that may be what it is. I don't know. And again, you know, you guys are much brighter on this now. Again, I'm speaking from decades of experience. Okay, my life's been the same. I didn't give a fuck who president was until Trump came up. You know, and honestly, at the end of the day, I don't. The only reason I care a little bit is because, you know, there's children in my family, you know, and I care because of them. But my point being is, you know, you're saying that, I try to say, well, this, and then you're like, well, what if this? And then, well, this is going to end in this. At the end of the day, your argument's going to be, well, rich people benefit. Well, if they benefit, I guess, fuck it, let them benefit. But they make some big money. Good. If I had a fucking $1 billion, I'd like to have more than $1 billion. Which
That's why
when you brought
socialism never.
Dad, when you brought that up, your $1 billion plan won't work.
Well, no, because billionaires pull the strength of everybody. It would never take place because the rich
No,
won't allow it to take place.
your logic's faulted.
No, my logic is what you should be done. It's what the doctor prescribes, but everybody
It's
wants
like
what the
that.
Candyman's giving out.
It's like the addition problem. You wanted to blame your incorrect thinking on me, and then finally, after 3 times, you admitted you were
Eisenhower's the one who
wrong.
put that tax rate, and he was a Republican, and he had the greatest surplus.
I'm not worried about all that. I don't care about this, that, and the other.
Well, that should, because that's what
I'm
actually
saying
works.
money's wasted, and this, that, and the other. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Okay, I see on TV, amongst college educated and dumb people this and undereducated. Well, look, we're all undereducated here. None of us have a college degree, but you know what? A lot of college degrees are actually garbage and meaningless.
See, that's where you're missing the point. University is not there to teach you one thing or to do this necessarily. It's there to teach you how to think and how to critically think about things, how to break things down and deduce them into things so you can actually understand things. That's what university is for.
That's fucked up. That's why I'm glad my son's learning is in the computer science college, because that's what they learn, math and computer science. They don't learn how to socialize.
Yes, they do. They learn how to break things down and understand it.
I already took care of that. I took care of that in my son's teen years. That's over with. When he left the house, he was already set in his ways of thinking. I don't want my child being told how to think by no government
teaching
agency.
First principles theory to people is bad somehow.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You don't understand what you're even condemning yet. Like, when I'm
Who are you
explaining
to
what
tell
you've
me
heard,
I don't? Who are you to say I don't understand? You
because
know,
your reply
word
was
that
not what I was talking about. So
word
you
it a little
replied,
bit
and that wasn't what
differently.
I was talking about.
Say,
So
Andy,
therefore, that
let me
means you didn't
help you
understand it.
understand. Don't use negative connotation. It makes you look bad, bro. Fuck. Don't
Depends
tell
on
me I
who I'm
don't
talking
understand.
to.
Say, look, you're not seeing it. You know, because look, I can play the same game. Oh, you're too stupid to understand. That's how you talk to me,
Guys, while we
dude.
have a brief
That's
break,
not a very good argumentative strategy.
I'm going to be breaking down here in just a minute. I'm going to give both of you closing. I've been over way past. I kind of got into this. Politics tend to get me going. So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
gonna.
I don't know, Trump. You've been remaining quiet. I'm sorry. And in
It's all good.
closing, I'd like to, huh?
It's all good. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this in closing. I'm gonna go away. Oh, look, there's Angela. Trump. Look, you're a fucking Democrat, liberal, fucking motherfucker. But
Thank you.
I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see you okay, brother.
Thank you.
And be safe. Be safe, okay?
Thank you. And I'll probably be
You
back.
too,
Seems like the internet's going fine now. So yeah, we have disagreements, but I like to see at least one place where we can actually have a civil discussion, because it doesn't seem to be the case in most places. It seems to be a whole lot of pointing and calling each other pieces of shit, and even I do it
No,
sometimes. To be fair.
You just get fed up and you had enough. And
Believe me,
Yeah.
Trubs, it
Let it
isn't
out.
that bad. Believe me, I've been going on other panels. I mean, I think you saw me with fucking Acid and Pat. That shit is nothing but a shit show.
I
You
know. I
know?
do my best to avoid shit like that. It's just to me that's boring. It's like it's the same
No,
old
and I
shit.
understand.
It's funny.
That's
I
just
told
like
Trubs
somebody
like
was
a
in
while
your
back
comments.
that you need social media training. Or something.
Social
You're getting
media
better.
training.
You're getting better, Andy.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say about the same about you, Gad. When I hope for you, I'm gonna say a prayer for you. How's that?
That's fine. I have no qualms. You be you and do your thing. I have no things I want to push on you. I
That's
mean, you can
good.
be
That's
free.
good. I agree. That's one of my terms. You be you.
That's
Shit.
all I want people to do is just be themselves. Quit trying to be other people and all this other bullshit. Just be yourself.
Right.
Enjoy life. Quit hating everybody. I'm so sick of this hater culture. I see it with video games, any products nowadays. I mean, it's just everybody gets on this bandwagon. Hate this thing, and it's so fucking annoying. Just
Dude,
enjoy life. It's too short to hate
well,
everything all the time.
I'm over there on this new chat, and there's a bunch of women over there. And you know what? They're all shapes, sizes, and political beliefs, religious leanings. I don't give a fuck. You know why? Because they're fucking women. And I'd rather chat with women than dudes. So I just kind of avoid talking about politics with them. I
Well,
talk to them
that's
about
best.
lingerie or
Well,
something like that.
just listen to them. To compliment and stuff like that, you'll go far.
Yeah. Well, that's something I learned with Bianca. If I don't argue politics with Bianca, we get along fine. I'm not trying to throw salt in your wound. It's just that's my
Oh,
example.
I have there's no issues I have with her or anything like
But
that. To me,
anyway, and
that's
I
water under
try
the
not to
bridge.
do that. And this is one outlet, that I can come here and talk and all this. But in general, I mean, I don't bring politics up with chicks. I want them to like me, not hate me. I don't
Those
think they're
chicks aren't in the.
Democrat or not.
Again, I'm like autistic, and one of the things that was drilled into me from like the age of 12 was fucking Rush Limbaugh every day. Politics drilled in every day for
Yeah, I told you I did
18
that for a
years.
long time. Well, Probs, you said you had to go or something?
Yeah, I've got to run. I was just letting you guys finish up, but
So anyway, no. I went on again because I didn't know you said something with your internet. But anyway, just repeat. I'm glad you're back, Probs. Are you going to come on next Friday?
I should be. That's what I was saying. It looks like my internet's not off and on all over the place. So as long as I don't get like hardcore addicted to Warhammer again, I should be here.
Dude,
I mean,
fucking get off of that fucking shit.
Dude, that shit is fun as fuck.
yeah, they made it really good now. It's
Yeah, you know what else is fun? It's
see,
funny.
I'm at fault for this because I actually bought him the DLC that one, and I was like, I knew this was going to tempt him because I had the people, the Chaos Lord and shit.
So yeah, you guys
Angela,
can
you're far from boring.
head to Angela for the dumpster fire type stuff because I do not like it. I like to
No,
have
I
actual.
refuse. Next time, look, I'm not gonna do that kind of shit on panel, dude. All I wanted to do was go up there and goof around, talk with Melody and Angela. You know, that's like that's the reason I'm even over in Vegas chat. When that dude, when somebody came in here panel crashing months ago, and I'm like, well, fuck you, motherfuckers. I'm gonna get you to suck my dick a little. You're not getting away with that. You know, and that's how I wound up. I went and sought them out. And then lo and behold, I ran across Acid. That's where he goes.
Mm.
But I don't like all this dumpster fire shit. I like fucking talking to chicks, you know, and then I do enjoy doing this, you know. I was hoping to talk to Angela about her Halloween or whatever. I don't know what it
Oh,
was.
she
It
posted
sure
pictures
wasn't.
in the Discord.
Huh?
She posted a picture in the Discord, her and her
Oh,
goofy
cool.
outfit.
That's her right, you know, and which
She comes in
reminds
there to
me,
try
you
to troll
know,
me at times.
whatever. You know what? Melody made. Anyway, I'm going to stop because I'm going to keep going on and on. Hey, good chatting with you guys. What's your name again? The bald head guy. Try to put an announcement out, you know, that you're going to be up like
I normally
Thursday
do.
or Friday.
I normally put a post out and it'll show up on my channel as a post saying what the time will be like this time, although I was late today. So everything should go back to normal. And
all right, man.
yeah,
all right.
so
I'm going. I'm gonna see y'all next week.
It's all good. Take it easy. It was fun.
Have a good one.
You too.
Oh, yep, he's gone already. Okay. I was